At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Cincinnati Reds. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. Well, the Mets' 2011 season about to come in for a landing. It's been 159 games played, 3 more to go. As the sun sets on 2011, Terry Collins keeping an eye out for his young players who are here in the big leagues, and maybe half an eye out about guys who are still a few years away. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Ron Darling and Keith Hernandez join me in just a moment as the Mets begin their final series of the year, a 3-game set against the Cincinnati Reds. And the only intrigue left for the Mets this season, among other things, is whether Jose Reyes can become the Mets' first ever batting champion. He comes into today's game 2 points behind Ryan Braun for the National League lead in batting average. And Keith is a guy who has challenged for a batting title before. How do you approach these last 3 days if you're trying to win the title?
Well, I had the lead in 79, so I had the perspective of being ahead, but I had a guy by the name of Pete Rose coming hard on me. Jose, one thing in his favor right now they can use to his advantage is that first at bat's always important. You want to get that first hit. Braun is in Milwaukee 1 hour behind, so he can get get an at bat, get a hit. Braun sees it on the board. He'd be very much aware of it. He might tighten up. You never know. But this is very much up in the air right now. Who's going to win the batting title? 2 points between them. It could have, if Jose can do it, the first batting champion in Met history.
That's been fascinating to watch because Jose has drawn a lot more walks lately, been a little more selective as he tries to get this batting title. On the mound for the Mets tonight is Chris Schwindel. Looked like he might get his first big league win his last time out. Bullpen couldn't hold it. He gets another crack tonight.
No, he was outstanding, but the great thing about Schwindel, when you think about it, he was rewarded for his good pitching in AA and then in AAA, and he has come here and he's made the most of it. To get 4 starts in September is a great thing. To be able to impress in 4 starts is even better.
Now the Mets are playing the Reds, whom they swept in a 4-game series in Cincinnati earlier this year. And one of the pitchers they torched in that series was Homer Bailey.
Yeah, Homer Bailey didn't make it out of the 5th, gave up 9 earned runs in that start, but he has been so much better since the All-Star break. 6-3, with a low ERA. He should be much better for him than he was earlier in the year.
So the Mets embark on their final series of the year. A chance for Jose Reyes to perhaps do something no Met has ever done. All the action coming your way tonight right here on SNY. Is brought to you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Fast 5, owned it on Blu-ray and DVD on October 4th. Today's Doctor of Distinction is Dr. Maison Rabani. Advanced Urology Centers of New York. The best care in the world right in your backyard. Log on to AUCofNY.com. And by Parts Authority, the only name in auto parts you'll ever need to know. Visit them at PartsAuthority.com and become a VIP member today. Visit the official online shop of the Mets at Mets.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including official caps, t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the Mets.com shop. Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. And you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. After tonight, only 2 to go. Tomorrow night, Wednesday afternoon, and that'll do it for the 2011 season. After that, next game for the Mets, April 5th, when they open here at Citi Field against the Atlanta Braves. That's April 5th of 2012. It's a long way away. Still 3 games to go in this season. Mets and Reds. First pitch coming right up. Cincinnati Reds. Brandon Phillips is out a fine year, hitting over 300. Leading off, the ageless Edgar Renteria. Then Joey Votto, last year's MVP, having a very good year, if not an MVP season. For Dusty Baker, a year after the Reds won the National League Central, this year under 500.
You had to really enjoy Chris Swindon's start in St. Louis. Terry Collins was talking about it was a little cooler. He looked much more comfortable. He was moving the ball in and out. A nice quality start from Chris.
Brandon Phillips will lead things off for the Reds. Phillips 7th in the National League in base hits, has 93 runs scored. He's got a $12 million option on his contract for next year, and the Reds are in conversation with Phillips and his agents about a long-term deal. First pitch from Swindon is up and in for ball 1. Swindon got off to a rather miserable start in that game in St. Louis. If you'll recall, he gave up a couple of runs in the first inning on a 2-run triple by David Freese, and then he gave up 3 more hits in the second inning and was on the verge of being knocked out of that game. But then Schwindel had what might be one of the seminal moments in his career. Bases loaded, Albert Pujols at the plate, a 3-1 count, and he got Pujols to pop up. Got the next batter on a great diving catch by Willie Harris, and he was on his way.
Little cutter to Pujols, pop up to Evans, and Harris for the play of the day.
Phillips lifts one to left, pretty deep. Harris going back onto the track, fielding for the wall, and it's off the fence. Phillips, who was not running particularly hard, will have to pull in at second. That ball had a tremendous amount of air under it, and it's inconceivable that Phillips didn't get a triple.
Well, Willie Harris runs out of room here, and if we're in Cincinnati, that's a bomb, but we're at City, so that is a double. And nice backing up coming over Pridey. That's what he's supposed to do.
38th double of the year for Brandon Phillips.
And we'll take a look at the IOTV pitch differential, and that looks like a hanger to me.
A little cutter in the middle of the plate.
So here's Edgar Renteria getting the start at shortstop tonight. And he drops down a gorgeous bunt. Schwindel has the play at first in time. Boy, to get Renteria.
They would not have had Renteria around 5 years ago. What a player what a career he's had. Really one of the good offensive shortstops to come down the road. Clutch hitter.
Over 2,300 hits in his career. So here's Joey Votto, last year's MVP. This year leading the league in on-base percentage, leading the league in doubles, leading the league in walks. He's had a very good, if not quite, MVP year. And this will get a run home. Friday drifting over into right center. Phillips tagging at third, and he can trot on in with the first run of the game. So Phillips doubles, Renteria gets him over, Votto gets him in, and the Reds have a quick 1-0 lead.
Well, that didn't take long. It's only 7-12. Man.
5 pitches, 1 run.
I'll take a look at the Lexus Metropolitan defense. Jose Reyes, 18 errors in 121 games. He's played a solid shortstop this year, and I think with Tejada on the other side, that's a nice little up the middle combo right there.
That starting outfield still out of the lineup and probably for the duration. Lucas Duda and Angel Pagan with head injuries, and Jason Bay went back to the doctor today, got new antibiotics to try and treat what has been a very stubborn sinus infection. 0-2 to Jay Bruce. Bruce with 31 home runs, 95 runs batted in.
He had a quick start, Bruce. A lot of home runs early.
He was ice cold when the Mets saw him in July.
Yep.
We weren't all the Reds, right?
Yep.
Except for Votto.
Well, when the Mets got to Cincinnati on July the 25th, the Reds were only 3 games out of first place. They were a game under 500 at that point as Bruce takes a call, third strike, and the inning is over. But the Brewers just ran away with the division from there, leaving the Reds in their dust. Cincinnati gets 1. Mets coming to bat. Jose Reyes leads off against Homer Bailey and takes a strike. Reyes starts the day at .331, second in the National League, 2 points behind Ryan Braun.
Well, Homer Bailey has been outstanding. I talked about his 6-3 record since the All-Star break, 2-0 in his last 3. Gary, a lot of that has to do with the last 3 games. Runners in scoring position have been 1 for 16 against Bailey.
Bailey, 25 years old. He's been up in the big leagues with the Reds for 4 straight years. Here's a strike, and it's 1-2.
Were you sure it was a strike?
Well, Tim McClellan will let us know by next week. Here's your Geico starting lineup for the Mets. Jason Pridey. A couple of big games the last 2 days. And Reyes bangs one on the ground down to Votto. Makes the play to Bailey for the first out. So Reyes 0 for 1. Braun's game doesn't start for another hour. The Pirates are playing Pittsburgh with Charlie Morton on the mound for the Pirates.
And the Coors Light Reds defense, and of course the Gold Glover Brandon Phillips having another fine season. They got some September call-ups out there. It's that time of year.
Here's Ruben Tejada. Ruben hitting at .278. And a ball and a strike to Tejada with Willie Harris on deck. Willie hitting third for the 3rd straight game with Terry Collins just about out of available options right now with Pagan and Bay and Duda all hurt. Line to left, and Sapelko will play it on a hop. It's a base hit for Tejada. So Ruben has a hit in 5 straight games, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner.
Well, they keep on wanting to throw Ruben breaking balls, and Ruben was very obliged.
So here is Harris hitting at .251. We'll be keeping an eye on what is going on in the 2 very tight wild card races, with the Red Sox a game up on Tampa Bay and the Braves a game up on St. Louis with 3 games to go. The Red Sox loaded the bases in Baltimore in the first inning, did not score against Tommy Hunter. Tampa Bay hosting the Yankees, and Robinson Cano hit a first inning home run off James Shields, and the Rays are down by a run. It was quite a saver by the Red Sox last night, wasn't it?
It really was.
And Harris hits a bullet up the middle, and the Mets have back-to-back hits off Bailey. Tejada pulls in at second, and David Wright will come up with 2 men on.
Well, the end of a day-night doubleheader last night at the stadium, and for the Red Sox were to lose that one, boy, oh boy.
And they were in position to lose.
Yes,
I mean, they were going to lose. They had a lead in the 7th inning. They gave it up, and Daniel Bard was melting down in the 9th. As we look at that base hit by Harris again. And Jonathan Papelbon was immense.
Came in for an inning and 2/3, and really the hero of that day was Ellsbury, Jacoby Ellsbury, 5 for 11, 3 home runs, including the game winner in game 2.
The 3-run homer in the 14th inning to keep the Red Sox breathing, at least, going to Baltimore.
Well,
the Angels blew a 3-run lead in the 9th yesterday, which pretty much sealed their fate.
They had their Cardinal game, didn't they?
Well, you know, Jordan Walden pitched against the Mets here at Citi Field and looked unhittable. There's a curveball from Bailey in for a strike, 1-1. But, you know, Walden has had, what, 11 blown saves?
Yeah, 11 blown saves with last night.
But that was the death knell, as the A's scored 4 in the 9th to beat the Angels. 1-1 to Wright, who had the day off yesterday, appeared as a pinch hitter. It's been a very rough go for David late in the season. Just 12 hits in his last 74 at bats. That's a 162 clip over the last 19 games. Now the 2-1, and David fouls it off. 2-2 with Nick Evans waiting on deck. The Braves are hosting the Phillies tonight. Phillies didn't score in the top of the first against Randall Delgado. The Braves trying to beat Cliff Lee after scoring just 2 runs in the last 2 days against the Nats.
Last good start they got, the Braves, was Randall Delgado, 5 shutout innings.
And then they're going to get Oswald tomorrow.
Got to find a way to score somehow. And David, with an ugly cut, goes down swinging. That's the second out. So Belly has his first strikeout.
Well, that's a good fastball up and in right there. And that just beats David. You see it collapse his swing. He just got beat tight up inside. You just don't see enough of that in today's game with 2 strikes ahead on the count and a header. Boy, oh boy. Up and in fastball, if you got some cheddar, is a very good pitch.
So 2 out of 2 on now Nick Evans, just 3 for his last 23. And in Atlanta, Chipper Jones just homered off Cliff Lee in the bottom of the first. So the Braves out to a 1-0 lead. It would figure, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's why you have those vets.
And that should give Met fans comfort that Chipper gets home runs against teams other than the Mets.
Keith, I was watching. Watch his front foot. See where it goes. After he lands it, watch the foot.
Okay, keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling. It almost ends up outside the box. Keep it going all the way, guys, if you can. Watch where it ends up.
No.
Almost out of the box.
What does that tell you?
It tells me, one, you have no foundation, right, Keith? And that he's kind of collapsing what you said. Use that word, collapsing.
Stepped a little bit in the bucket, and he just got beat inside.
Yeah.
To me, it was all about his hands, his front hand. He kind of inside out. You get beat. We've all been down that road before. Sometimes pitchers get you. Those son of a gun.
0-2 to Evans with 2 out of 2 on. And Nick wastes 1 foul. Josh Thole hitting 6th in the order tonight, waiting on deck. And a foul tip held by Mesoraco, and that's the 3rd out. Bailey with back-to-back strikeouts to work around a couple of hits. 1-0 Reds after 1. Brought to you by Lowe's. Visit Lowe's to pick up your instant win game card for a chance to win World Series tickets, compliments of Scott's. Chris Schwinden gave up a run in the first inning. Chris Heisy will lead off in the second against Schwinden. Heisy 17 home runs this year, missed most of August because of an oblique injury. playing center field today, normally the province of Drew Stubbs. Stubbs, who otherwise has had a decent year, has struck out over 200 times this year. The second player in history to do that.
He's going to have to figure it out because he's too good of an athlete. Great center fielder, solid, tons of speed. You look at a guy like that, if he can put the ball in play 100 of those 200 times.
100, 203.
Only one other player had ever struck out 200 times. That was Mark Reynolds, who's done it 3 times.
How do you play him every day? Shoot, he played 155 games. He only drove in 43 runs.
Hit some bombs, right?
Got home runs.
15.
He can run like the wind. He's a very good center fielder.
Wow, 203. I tell you what.
And Schwinden's breaking ball in for a call, 3rd strike. So Heisy's down looking, and Schwinden has his 2nd strikeout.
Well, had plate.
Oh, changeup, huh?
Yeah, had it right down the middle, but down. Completely fooled him.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Juan Francisco, who is considered to be the best power prospect for the Reds.
Guys, wait till you see his swing. It is Ruthian if he lets it go.
He doesn't get cheated.
Francisco hit 15 home runs in half a season in Louisville this year, 3 more in the major leagues. Getting some time. Scott Rowland has been out since July because of recurring problems with his shoulder. And the curveball sits high, 2-0.
$96 million.
Is that worth a ticket?
Oh, baby. Maybe 15. Drop a $20 bill on there, get 20 of them.
Schwinden falls behind Francisco 3-0. Juan Francisco, 24 years old, native of the Dominican.
Gary mentioned, what do we see you April 5th if you win that prize? Are we going to see
Oh, well, shoot, you got to do something. I'll be bored to tears. You have a depression.
There's always gardening.
You got to do something, right?
Would this come under the heading of something?
Yeah.
Thank goodness. You'd leave millions of people bereft if you said anything different.
I'm sure I would, yeah.
Chris Schwinden making his 4th major league start, his last of this season, and hoping to make an impression going into the offseason.
Obviously, Ronnie, he does all that fidgeting in there with the ball in his glove on every pitch so he doesn't tip.
That's right. If he does the same thing every time, he's not going to give away the pitches. He looks like someone stealing safes, tumbling the numbers, right?
Safe cracker.
Yeah.
Reyes had Francisco played perfectly, and he throws him out, 2 away. So 2 up and 2 set aside.
And once he gets down, you can see that his entire hand covering the baseball. Once you see that circle change, something that's going to run away and down if it's working, well, up a little bit, but away.
Does he slow his arm down a little bit on his changeup?
A little bit sometimes. He's pretty good with all his other pitches, but just that change of occasion. I think it was one of those that when young pitchers, he wanted to throw a strike. And when they want to throw a strike, sometimes they tip it off a little bit.
Dave Sapelt, the left fielder, has had 105 at bats since the Reds called him up. Sapelt, a 9th round pick out of Coastal Carolina. Nice setting down in Myrtle Beach. You ever been there?
Yes, I have. Beautiful.
Very, very pretty. Sapelt's not a big guy. His nickname at Coastal Carolina, Gary Coleman.
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh.
What you talking, Willis?
That's a
Tough town.
No need to go there.
Off the glove of Schwinden, and Sapelt took a run, beats it out for an infield hit. Well, one Schwinden would probably tell you he should have had.
The ones you miss are the ones you think that are hit harder, I would think.
You are so right, Keith. They come off, and it's almost like a changeup. You close your glove before it gets in the pocket.
Because you got very little time to react, and you can't tell if it's off the end of the bat and a full swing.
Well, they're going to charge Swindon with an error.
Ooh.
It's rare that you see a pitcher get an error on a play like that. But that's how they score it. So Sepelt aboard with 2 out. Now Devin Mesoraco, who is the Reds catcher of the future.
Good follow through, good position right in his glove. And just off the end of the glove. What happens for a pitcher, as soon as that ball is coming back at you, you have that brief moment that you're startled. Uh-oh, comebacker.
Devin Mesoraco, #1 pick for the Reds in 07. 15th overall selection. Had a good year in AAA this year, hit .289 with 15 home runs. Has not hit much since they called him up, only 40 at bats. Making his 11th start.
Got 2 home runs.
But they are very high on Mesoraco, and there aren't too many teams that have a lot of catching depth in the minor leagues. You see the Red Sox have gone in front of the Orioles 1-0 in the second.
Again, rooting for the Yankees.
Well, the Red Sox fans have to. Now, by winning last night, the Red Sox control their own fate.
Yes.
Tampa Bay can win all 3 of their games, and they'd still fall short if the Red Sox win their 3.
Did you hear what Papelbon said after his great outing that you talked about, Gary? He said, if we win 4 straight, we're in. They said, well, Pap, you only got 3 games left. He goes, well, I'm just preparing in case we have to play game 163.
But if they win 3, they can't be at 163.
Right. Come on, Pap.
By the way, it won't shock you that Ellsbury drove in the Red Sox run.
Boy, what a finish. What a year.
RBI double. I know he's not going to win MVP, but he sure is going to get some votes when the voters put out their ballots. Every MVP voter gets to list their top 10. And I think Ellsbury will be featured on a lot of those ballots.
I think he'll be featured in the top 5, to tell you the truth.
Yep, he'll be in the top 5. About Miguel Cabrera taking over the batting lead over there.
Well, Adrian Gonzalez has really struggled coming down the stretch.
Yep.
He's got that bad shoulder.
I always thought that Miguel Cabrera was just a fine hitter, and not surprising that he is sitting there in the driver's seat.
It's so hard for a right-hand hitter to win a batting title. Here's the 1-2 to Mesoraco, and he bounces it foul.
I gotta wonder when the last Tiger won a batting championship.
Al Kaline?
Yeah. Would it go back that far?
There are the numbers coming into today. And Victor Martinez has had a lot to do with Cabrera's success batting behind him.
Did Kaline hit .341 the year he won the title?
Rookie year, right? Rookie year?
Something like that. Norm Cash had the big year also.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
360.
But he might have led the league in hitting, too. Not sure.
I know Kaline won the batting title when he was 20 years old. He's the youngest ever to win. The runner goes. The pitch is low. The throw by Tolley is not in time. Stolen base for Sepelt. That's his first.
Yeah, very leisurely crew here calling. Very casual call. Well, that is also a very good umpire right there, Brian Runge from the family of Runges.
Third generation big league umpire. 2-2 to Mesoraco, and that's low. 3-2. Well, turns out there's been a Tiger who won a batting title a lot more recently.
Maglio Ordonez?
Yeah, 363.
2007. Is that the year he hit the home run to clinch the division for the Tigers?
Yeah, it was. Exactly. In Tiger Stadium.
Mesoraco drives one to the gap in left center, and that's going to go all the way back to the Great Wall of Flushing. Sepelt is in to score. Mesoraco with an RBI double, and it's 2-0 Cincinnati.
could have been a 1-3 on your scorecard and go sit down and inning over. It winds up an unearned run. That's a cutter right there. He stays flat.
Well, a couple of runs here early. One thing he did against the Cardinals is pitch into the right-handers. He hasn't done any of that so far.
And by a flat cutter, I mean there's no down break to it. Just starts out at the same level and stays. Just breaks on the same plane horizontally, and it's always a pitch that a hitter can read.
Homer Bailey, one of the best hitting pitchers in the league, has 11 hits this year, batting .297. The game the Mets torched him, he had an RBI hit in that game. And look at this, a pitcher not wearing batting gloves.
Gotta like it, Keith.
Well, hey, very manly. Like it. Ron, did you wear gloves?
No, I didn't wear gloves. I mean, I wasn't that manly. If it was real cold, I would wear gloves. But not during the summer.
It's a very interesting tattoo he's got on his forearm.
Wow, 36 pitches already.
Only 9 in the first inning, but after retiring the first 2 here in the second, it's gotten difficult for him. Bailey slashes one foul, 2-2.
It's a real indication, isn't it, guys, so what kind of pitcher Schwinden is. Keith reminded us that kind of missed that ball for the E, and next thing you know, he's got all these pitches. Things have to really fall in line for him to be successful.
Jeez.
It's an arrow.
Quiver. No.
Strike 3 called. Bailey down looking. Oh, I think McClellan just called the strike 3. An unearned run for the Reds, and they lead it 2-0 in the second. Here's your AT&T trivia question. What 2 players have appeared in the most postseason games with the Mets? Now, the Mets have not played that many postseason games.
No.
Played.
It's got to be recent.
Played 8 of them in 1969.
Yeah.
They played 12 of them in 1973. They played 10 of them in 1999. You guys played 12. And then 2000.
So there's got to be a tie there.
Yeah. You guys played 13, of course. 6 and 7.
There's going to be a few winners on there, I think.
I think it'll be recent. I think
Yeah,
it'll be 99, 2000.
99, 2000, because 2000 you played 3 rounds.
That's right.
You had 4 with the Giants, 5 with the Cardinals, and 5 with the Yankees. 14, that's the most they played in 1 year. And then in 2006 you played, they swept the Dodgers, right?
What?
Did they sweep the Dodgers in the first round in 06?
Yes.
Right, and then 7, so 10 that year. Josh Tolle hitting at 267. Slow ground ball for Phillips. 1 away. Fast Five, the David Wright story.
That was the Michigan team, right, with all the rookies?
That's Fab Five.
Oh, that was in Blu-ray.
That was Mason Blu-ray, Michigan. Alex Gonzalez an RBI double, and the Braves lead Cliff Lee and the Phillies 2-0 in the second. Cardinals play a little later in Houston. St. Louis a game behind. Josh Satin up. Satin getting the start at first base, his 4th start, 4 hits and 20 at bats. Ball and a strike. Baltimore has tied up Boston 1-1. Matt Wieters with a home run off Josh Beckett in the bottom of the second. The Orioles have been very, very tough on the contenders coming down the stretch in September. Satin takes it low and inside. 3-1. Jason Pridey waiting on deck. And Satin bounces one down to third. Francisco's got a strong arm. Throws him out, 2 away. Complete your Citi Field experience with the McFadden's Mets game day ticket package. Includes a 1-hour happy hour, a complimentary appetizer, and a post-game drink coupon. Get to Mets.com for your tickets now. Better hurry.
Exactly.
Well, here's Jason Pridey, and what have we said about Pridey all year?
Yeah.
That when he plays regularly, he hits, and well, he's making his 3rd straight start, and in the last 2 he's got 5 hits and 6 at bats. 3 for 3 yesterday. Had a single, double, and triple his first 3 times up, and then drew a walk the 4th time up when he had a chance for a cycle.
He had 1 pitch to rip, and he fouled it back.
I know ball 4 to him was not close inside. I can think of a lot of guys who would have been flailing at. Reminds me of the time the Mets were in Detroit, first year of interleague play, and the Tigers blitzed the Mets in that series, 3 straight games. And over the course of 2 games, as Pridey strikes out, Bobby Higginson hit 4 consecutive home runs to tie the major league record. Next time up, caught looking.
What?
Yeah. 2-0 Reds after 2 at Citi Field. Top of the batting order, Brandon Phillips leads off for the Reds in the third. Cincinnati ahead 2-0. Phillips hit a double high off the wall and left his first time up and scored a run. And he takes a curveball for a strike from Schwinden. Phillips, Renteria, and Votto for the Reds in the third. The Reds have 82 losses, which means they have clinched their 10th losing season in the last 11 years. Line caught. Beautiful play by David Wright. Timed it perfectly and made a great athletic grab.
Well, great angle to watch it right here. Had double written all over it. Oh, David, nice leaping ability.
It was Brooks-like, wasn't it?
Superman. I believe tall buildings.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Edgar Renteria, who sacrificed his first time up. So the Reds had 9 straight losing years. Last year they won their division, and of course expectations were high for this year, but they have fallen backwards. Reds lead the league in home runs. They're third in the league in runs scored, but they've given up a ton of home runs, partly because of the ballpark they play in. And their pitching has struggled. Scott Rowland has missed half the year. That certainly hasn't helped. They were a team that very much relied on their defense last year when they won the division.
Defense, and they also had everything go their way. They had a lot of comeback victories. When they played the Mets in the middle of the season, remember they ended that with Cabrera going deep for a walk-off.
3-1 to Renteria. Well, ownership with the Reds thinks highly enough about the direction that they're going in that they just re-signed their general manager Walt Jocketty to a 3-year contract extension. Of course, Jocketty was successful in St. Louis before joining the Reds 3 years ago.
And before that, under the stewardship of Sandy Alderson in Oakland. Moneyball a couple days ago. Moneyball to Jocketty.
Shallow right center, and Evans is there. 2 out.
I'd have to say, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, Walt Jocketty is probably one of the most respected baseball minds in the game. And when you get a guy like that, you just can't let him go.
Right.
Of course, the difficulty for any general manager in that environment at Great American Ballpark is how do you build a pitching staff?
Build from within is very difficult. You know, the Phillies did it with a small ballpark, but they bought all the best pitchers.
Well, they've got some great arms. I mean, Edinson Volquez is a great arm.
Yeah.
Johnny Cueto had a tremendous year before they just recently shut him down. Had a great, has a great arm. They've got Aroldis Chapman in the bullpen who throws 105. He's got a great arm. But the question is, if you pitch in that ballpark, do you need to build a staff of sinker ballers?
So it's like pitching in old Colorado. I mean, when Colorado used to play the way it played.
Well, that's what the Cubs used to do when I came up in the early 70s. They would have nothing but sinker ballers, the whole staff, and they would keep the grass cut. They wouldn't cut the grass. The grass would be like 4 inches long. Just gobble up ground balls. They still didn't win.
1-2 to Joey Votto. And the changeup misses 2-2. Votto drove in a run with a sacrifice fly his first time. That's 102 RBIs for Votto. Schwinden looking for his first 1-2-3 inning. He was on the verge in the second, but he couldn't handle a comebacker, and that wound up costing him a run. Now 3-2 on Votto with 2 out.
Schwinden doing the right thing. Staying in on Votto is the key. Anything out over the plate, even here in Citi Field, he has tremendous power to left and left center field.
Struck him out. Got him with the fastball. That's the 4th strikeout for Chris Schwinden in the first 3 innings, and he has his first 1-2-3 of the night. Which two Mets have played the most postseason games? Probably guys who played in the '99 and 2000 seasons.
Yes.
Probably Alfonso.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, Alfonso and Ventura. Remember, Mike Piazza missed a couple of games in '99 because he had an injury. That's why Todd Pratt hit that big home run against the Diamondbacks. Here's Walt Jocketty, the Reds GM, of whom we spoke last inning. Chris Schwinden takes a strike. Was he reading there some baseball perspective?
No, I think there was the wine enthusiast. I think he was checking out. You see the shipping for free, flat rates. It's amazing when the economy's down what they'll do to try to get you. They go buy a case and get one free shipping, or ship it to your house for free. Like they're begging you.
Well, you know, if you're a good trader, which Walt is, you should be pretty good at, you know, picking them on your wine sheet.
Yeah,
too.
finding a deal.
Strike three called. Schwinden down looking.
I like the way everybody knows they're struck out, or the pitcher walks off the mound and the strike hasn't been called yet.
Now on the field, I don't know how many games you've had with Tim McClellan, Keith, but on the field, Gary, the reason that people move at the plate is that he has such a big booming voice. So he is saying strike, and then he raises his arm. So we only see the arm. We don't hear the sound.
Could he speed it up because we can't hear him?
Okay.
Here's Jose Reyes, who's 0 for 1, and he takes a strike. Reyes grounded out his first time up, so Reyes has dropped a point now at 330. Ryan Braun's game is yet to start. He's at 333. Reyes needs a couple of big games, and he lines one, base hit. Hit number 175 for Reyes, and he's 1 for 2 on the night.
Well, the Brewers haven't even started to play yet, and that is always good to have a little hit up there. This is going to go down to the wire, this batting title. Nice hitting by Jose, by the way. Up and in fastball. Got in a little bit, not enough.
That gets Reyes back up to 331. And to carry it a couple of places further, he's at 3.3143, and Braun at 3.3273. So it's less than 2 points. It's more like a point and a third that Braun leads by.
Just by a hair of your chinny chin chin.
No huffing and puffing in here. Ruben Tejada single to left his first time up, so the Mets have their third hit off Bailey. And that pitch taken for a strike. You know, talking about Reyes and his pursuit of the batting race, Terry Collins was just talking about how Reyes will be used in this final series. And remember, Wednesday's a day game after a night game, and for the most part he hasn't been playing those. And you know, Terry was intimating that there was some question about whether he was going to play on Wednesday. And it's hit toward the hole. A base hit for Tejada. Nice job of hitting behind the runner. So the Mets with back-to-back hits, and Tejada's 2 for 2.
I think he has to play.
He has to play for two reasons. One, he's in the batting race, and you don't sit him out. And two is, it may be his last game as a Met. Yeah. There are going to be a lot of people coming to this game on Wednesday specifically to give Reyes A, encouragement to stay, but B, also a big send-off if indeed it is his last game.
Well, number one, if he's trailing, he has a chance to catch. He's got to play. If he's leading, you never sit on it. You never sit on the lead.
Well, he's also not going to be leading by that much, surely.
And I never thought of your angle, Gare, and that's a very valid point you make.
I mean, yesterday the Cardinals played their last home game, and when Albert Pujols came up for his first at bat, might be his last game as a Cardinal at Busch Stadium, they gave him a thunderous 1-minute standing ovation. Now, I don't know how big the crowd's going to be here on Wednesday, but I do know that those who come are going to give Reyes a huge reception.
I agree.
To Willie Harris, who singled to center his first time up. Mets down 2-0, tying runs on base with 1 out. And Bailey misses up and in 3-0 with David Wright on deck. Yankees just added a run against James Shields in the third. Robinson Cano with his second RBI of the night. 3-1 to Harris. Was Cano the only Yankee who played all of both games yesterday?
No, he didn't start in the first game.
He didn't.
He did not.
Because I know Jeter and A-Rod never saw the field in the second game.
In fact, Cano is batting third tonight, I believe, and that's the place he's going to stay now. He's fitting in the lineup, Joe Girardi, around Cano, who's now become their best hitter.
3-2 now to Harris.
I shouldn't say now has become their best hitter, but he is at the center of all those great hitters now.
The most reliable guy.
Yes.
Reyes in second, Tejada at first with 1 out. Let's see if they're going. And they are. And Harris hits one out to right field. Runners will have to get back as Bruce grabs it. And Reyes slides back in safely. That's the second out.
Boy, oh boy, Homer Bailey didn't even look back twice at Reyes. He got such a jump.
Yeah.
So 2 out of 2 on. Now David Wright, who came up with 2 men on in the first inning and struck out. David in his last 75 at bats has just 12 hits. And in those 75 at bats, he has struck out 25 times. So it has not been a good finish for David, who was so hot when he first came off the disabled list in July and has never really found that groove again. Hitting a .254 for the year. And the curveball from Bailey for a strike. Is it just me or are the planes flying awfully low
Yeah,
tonight?
they're low tonight.
Must be a very low ceiling. A lot of pilots just trying to give some folks in the window seats a nice view of the game. Well, you mentioned it earlier, Ronnie, how effective Bailey's been lately with runners in scoring position. One for 16 over his last 3 starts, and 0 for 3 again today.
See if they go inside bad. Yep. That's a good 0-2 pitch right there for 2 breaking balls away. You can double up, Ron, or you can throw one in the dirt.
I double up personally.
Reyes dancing off the bag, and Bailey thought about it.
No. There's no need to steal third. You got a hitter up there with 2 strikes and 2 outs.
Brian Price, the pitching coach, as Bailey misses away 2-2.
It's like, where was that pitch? Outside by the foot, Brian. Very talented pitching coach, by the way.
Phillips staying almost on the bag to make sure Reyes doesn't get too far away. 2-2 to right, and David takes low. 3-2. You never know. I mean,
you got a 50% chance.
You got to wait for McClellan because you have no idea. He might throw up that right hand. You could be halfway through the commercial break. Now Reyes and Tejada get set to run. 3-2 and 2 out. And David hits it back up the middle for a base hit. That'll get Reyes in with the first run. Tejada to third. David Wright with a hard hit RBI single for his 60th run batted in to cut the Cincinnati lead to 2-1.
Well, fairly predictable here by Bailey, and that Ronnie, you made the sign to me before he even threw the pitch. And throw a breaking ball and a get me over breaking ball. And Wright with the toe striding more than I've seen him. And that's just good balance right there. You can see that bat wrapped around his head. That's when I think his problems begin. But he got the barrel there. He squared it up nicely.
So David, the only current Met to 60 RBIs.
Of course, Carlos Beltran still leads the team in RBIs. He had 66 before he left nearly 2 months ago. Here's Nick Evans with the tying run at third and 2 out. Evans struck out his first time. So the Mets putting 3 hits together in the third inning, and Bailey finally giving up a hit with a runner in scoring position. Now Evans up in the count 2-0 with Josh Tolle on deck. Curveball misses. 3-0. Interesting call there with the left-hand hitter on deck.
It's a bad call. Interesting is one word. Bad is another one. He didn't need to throw. Nick Evans is a guy that likes the ball up. So all you have to do 2-0. Make sure it's down. I want to trick the elite hitters. I want to trick the hitters that are trying to find their way to the elite status.
3-1 fastball hit the other way down the right field line. That's an extra base hit for Evans. Tejada is in, right being waved around third. He's heading home. It's a 2-run double for Nick Evans, and the Mets grab the lead 3-2. Nick took the fastball the other way and drives it a pair.
Well, you pitch behind the count, it's sooner or later going to catch up with you. And Bailey this inning, when the men got on base, fell behind, could not dodge a bullet. Nice hitting by Evans, and that's not trying to do too much. That was a pitch he could have pulled, but he opted to go the opposite field. Nice line drive stroke, 2 ribeye steaks, and Mets take the lead.
So the Mets who dropped the roof on Homer Bailey in Cincinnati earlier this year, putting up a 3 spot here in the third. All the runs coming after 2 are out. Josh Tolle bats with Evans at second and 2 out. Meanwhile, in Baltimore, the Red Sox have gone back in front 2-1. Jed Lowry with a home run to put the Red Sox in front. Tolle bounced out to second base his first time up. The Mets now with 6 hits against Bailey, who gave up 9 runs and 12 hits in 4 innings plus the first time he faced New York. Gets the ground ball on the first pitch curve, and Phillips throws out Tolle to end the inning. But the Mets put up 3. David Wright with a hard base hit to drive in 1, and Evans doubles in 2. Schwindon now has staked to a lead for the first time after the Mets scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 3rd. Jay Bruce will lead off for the Reds in the 4th. Well, this is kind of the way Schwindon's game went last time out in St. Louis. He got touched up early, settled in. The Mets got him a lead. He left with the lead before the bullpen let it get away. Bruce takes ball 1. We'll see whether Schwindon can settle in tonight the way he did in that last start. After that 2nd inning, he was tremendous. Ball and a strike to Bruce with Chris Heisy and Juan Francisco to follow. Reds 2 runs, 2 hits. The Mets 3 runs and 6 hits. One of the runs against Schwindon unearned, the result of his own error. Center field hit pretty well. Priney back, has room, 1 away. So 1 out and nobody out. Let's send it to Eamon McEnany, who's subbing for Kevin Burkhardt tonight for a view from the Pepsi porch presented by Pepsi Max Field of Dreams. Eamon?
Well, thanks, Gary. And earlier today, Mets first-round draft pick Brandon Nimmo had a chance to check out the views here at Citi Field as he was taking fly balls in center field. He also took BP under the watchful eyes of GM Sandy Alderson and Terry Collins. Now, just 18 years old, Nimmo only has 10 games of minor league experience, so he's going to go right to the Dominican Republic as we have a bunt here by Heisy, and he's safe. As the ball gets thrown away, he'll stay at first base. But this was a great opportunity for Nimmo. As I mentioned, he's going to go to the Dominican Republic for winter ball next month to try to get more at-bats against better competition. But he said this afternoon here at Citi Field is going to motivate him to get his career going and try to get up here as soon as possible. But Gary, you know, seeing him and listening to him talk to the media today, you never would have guessed this was an 18-year-old kid from Wyoming, the way he handled all the questions. So one thing's for sure, if and when he gets the call up to the big club, he'll have no problem dealing with the New York media.
He was personable. He was funny.
Really funny.
I mean, he said at one point, you know, I know a lot of you look at me as this kid from Wyoming who somebody once saw ice fishing and thought he might have a good arm because he casted well. I mean,
That's right.
he's just got a great bubbly personality. And by the way, you notice what number he was wearing.
Yes.
Very good number. The number has lots of hits in it.
I would have thought you used up all those hits.
Wasn't Dizzy Dean 17 too?
Was that
yes.
number retired in St. Louis?
That's right.
Just saw that when we were out there. Juan Francisco fouls one back. I asked him if he asked for 17. He said, well, I first asked for 24 because that was his number growing up, and it was his brother's number in college. His brother played at University of Nebraska. He said, but they told me they don't give out 24 here because it was Willie Mays' number. So I said to him, you know who wore that number with great pride here? He said he didn't know. So I told him, Luis Lopez and Dae-Sung Koo. No, I told him it was you, Keith, that he was very impressed, and he said that's something now he has to live up to.
Wow. Oh, well, he doesn't have to live up to that. Shoot. Just go to the minor leagues, go to Dominican, get some hits this winter, and move on up the ladder.
You're right, Gary. Great personality. He was comfortable with all the reporters around him. See how that fares about 10 years from now. But the one thing I thought was so great, he was so comfortable, so great, very eloquent. And he said, and then I was in Kingsport, and they were just hucking it up there. I said, hucking it up?
What does that mean?
That means chucking it in there. Huck it up.
Can you say that? Here's the 1-2 to Francisco, and it's fouled at the plate. He was talking about coming to New York for the first time and all the buildings and all the people and how different it is. He said, you know, in his whole time when driving in Wyoming, maybe he had 6 close calls driving, which sounds like a lot for an 18-year-old. But anyway, he said just on the ride in from the hotel to from the airport to the hotel, he said we had 10 close calls. I told my dad, I can't believe it. It looked like we were going to hit the guy. Welcome to New York, kid.
Gary, I've been with you. You have 10 close calls going out of the parking lot.
Actually, I had a very safe and secure ride with Gary last year.
You were safe and secure?
Safe and secure all the way up from Baltimore to Philly.
I was on my best behavior. I knew I had precious cargo. Down the left field line of foul ball.
That ball went out opposite field.
Wow.
This kid's got some significant power.
Hit a ball in their home ballpark that went 500 and something feet over the fence in right field. Not the fence, but where the fans sit.
Didn't quite make it to the Ohio River, which is 600 something feet away, but it was huge. Curveball down from Schwinden, 2-2. Of course, most of you probably know the Brandon Nimmo story. From Wyoming, first ever first-round draft pick from that state, a state where they don't play high school baseball. Played for his American Legion post, which is their equivalent of high school baseball. And from the perspective of the Mets hierarchy, they kind of went out on a limb to take a kid who has a very high ceiling, but you would think is going to take some time to develop because he has not played at an elite level. And just getting the hand back in his Heisy.
It's interesting. He said that as you see this good move by Schwinden, I thought the tag almost got him. It almost did. Heisy got back. It was interesting. He said, I know that when I came to Port St. Lucie, boy, the players are so much better facing 22-year-olds. But he goes, everyone I was with felt the same way.
Heisy runs. Toley's throw on the money. Just a shade too late. Heisy steals the base, his 6th of the year. Second stolen base of the night for the Reds.
Well, he did all he can do. That might have been a strike. I think Toley coming up to make the throw on the steal might have blocked McClellan's home plate umpire Tim McClellan's view. That looked like a knee-high strike. A lot of times those catchers come up out of that crouch to throw a runner out, and they block a low strike on the umpire.
Swing and a miss, and Schwinden with a changeup gets Francisco his 5th strikeout. 2 out. Well, we've been talking about Brandon Nimmo, the Mets' first-round draft pick. Let's hear some of what he has to say to the media today.
A strike zone. I need to, hone it down a little bit, get back to, being comfortable in my zone. And, of course, it's going to be an adjustment with the pitching. It's velocity's coming now. It's moving. Sharper breaking balls, all that stuff. It's just adjusting to the game and getting comfortable with it.
Dave Sapelt grounds one through the hole, a base hit. Heisy being sent home. The throw to the plate by Willie Harris on a hop is not in time. The Reds tie the game. Sapelt goes down to second. On the throw to the plate, it's 3-3.
Well, nice throw by Harris. Perfect. Right on target. Long hop for the catcher, but just too much speed for Heisy here.
And one of the themes in the second half, guys, is not even a close play at the plate. Slides right through Toley's foot. Is that the inability for the Mets to control the running game? I mean, they are getting burned game after game after game because they have a stolen base, a weak ground ball hit, and another ribby.
All started with a bunt hit from Heisy. So Devin Mesoraco will be walked intentionally. And they'll bring up.
That was very well spoken. That was well spoken by the youngster Nimmo right there. Nimmo. That was, it sounds very nice. He's got a good idea what he wants to do.
His family was here, and they were awfully nice people also. And what I thought, baseball must be very happy, because every time he was asked about being around the players, he said, I'm just happy to be around the MLB players. The MLB players have been great to me. I thought, good branding.
Said David Wright said hi to him. He loved that.
That's right.
He was hoping Jose Reyes would talk to him, but he said anybody who's made it to this level, I want to absorb as much as I can from all of them. He's a delightful kid. I mean, there's just no two ways about that. Here's Homer Bailey with 2 out and 2 on. He takes it up and away. By the way, we had Eamon's report from the Pepsi porch. The Pepsi Max Field of Dreams 4 regional finalists have been selected. Augie Gonzalez II of Carteret, New Jersey, was selected as the Eastern Regional finalist. And fans can go online to vote for which finalists. You get the opportunity to play with their friends against their Field of Dreams team in their hometown. Voting continues through October 5th, and the winner is announced during the World Series. Bailey struck out looking his first time up. And the Fastball from Schwinden for a strike, 1-1.
Uh-oh, Philly on the board. St. Louis, they're locked in. So
foul. Meanwhile, in Tampa, in St. Petersburg, the Rays have tied up the Yankees 2-2. B.J. Upton with a 2-run double to get the Rays even. Red Sox continue to lead in Baltimore. Red Sox took a little bit of the pressure off themselves last night. Not all of it, but there's more pressure now on the Rays to win every day. There's your Toyota Text Bowl. Which team do you think will miss the playoffs? The Braves, the Red Sox, both, or neither? For either one, it would be an historical collapse. Text 57508. Bielli hits it well out to right center, but Pridey has it lined up. Boy, Jason gets good breaks on balls. Made that look easy. The Reds tie the game on the RBI hit by Dave Spelt. 3-3 ball game in the fourth at Citi Field. In a 3-3 ball game. Homer Bailey got touched up for 3 runs in the third, but the Reds got him back even. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Absolute Vodka. Enjoy the game with a cocktail perfected with Absolute Vodka, the ideal choice for the 7th inning stretch. Absolute Vodka, cocktails perfected. Enjoy with absolute responsibility. So we're giving you a 3-inning heads up. By the way, the Milwaukee Brewers are playing at home tonight against Pittsburgh. Ryan Braun is not in the lineup for the Brewers tonight.
Really?
Well,
how can that be?
Well, they're heading for the postseason, and I think that Rob Renicky will probably give all of his starters a rest at some point in that series.
He'll play the next 2.
Yeah, I would think so.
Oh, Jerry's here.
It's not the same if he's not sitting with us.
I know.
Once is enough.
For him, maybe.
Yeah,
we'd love that.
That's what I'm saying. Talking is.
Actually, he is going to be hosting a dinner on November 11th for Major League Baseball alumni. They're going to be giving out the Gold Glove Awards at that dinner. He's going to be the master of ceremonies, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to hand out the awards to the American National League first base Gold Glove winners.
Nice.
On Veterans Day. November 11th.
Yep.
That's right. You're amazing.
I know my calendar. I know my national holidays.
Do you know when to pay your bills? Or does Lynn take care of that?
No, it's on me. 2-2 to set. You handle the checkbook?
I use Quicken, and I handle the bills. I always have. I don't trust anybody with my dough.
Ronnie?
I'm with you guys.
Glad it's unanimous. Power of the purse. 2-2 to Satin. Swing and a miss. And Bailey has to strike out. It's 5th of the night. So 1 out and nobody on in the home 4th, and Jason Pridey comes up. So with Braun sitting out tonight, Reyes has a chance to do some damage on his own. He's picked up about a half a point since the night began, going 1 for 2, and is now about a point and a third behind Braun. To Pridey. Reyes go in front.
Wow.
Johnny Damon with an RBI single. Boy, he's had some big hits for them down the stretch.
He sure has.
He's a winning player, always has been.
3-2 Tampa Bay. Pridey drills one to right field. Bruce won't get it. It goes into the Mo zone. An extra base hit for Pridey, who can motor. He's around second and on his way to third. And Jason Pridey, for the second straight game, has himself a triple. Tell you what, you roll him out there and he hits.
Well, this is a line drive hitter's haven here. If you hit line drives, you'll hit double-digit trips in this ballpark. Now right down the pipe, up fastball. Nicely done. Made his own decision.
Pridey's 6 for 8 over the last 3 games. He had a double and triple last night, a triple tonight. Down a tie game. The go-ahead run a third with 1 out. We don't know how Chris Schwindel bunts because he hasn't had to yet. He's 1 for 6 swinging the bat. Would make it hard for Terry Collins to call a squeeze, you would think. Unless he just wants to roll the dice. And the Reds thinking he might pitch out.
Honestly, no reason to squeeze here. A lot of firepower on the other side. Both pitchers have not proven that they can get anybody out on a consistent basis. Let Schwindel hit. Hope he gets the ball run in. If he doesn't, you have Reyes up next.
Of course, if you're going to squeeze, the best time to do it is right after the pitch out. So he didn't. Ball and a strike. Reyes waiting on deck. Carrying on conversation with some of the folks in the high price seats. I know how that conversation goes too. Hey Reyes, come on Jose, you got to resign. You got to sign.
Come on, Jose, take a picture, won't you?
She got her picture. Very nice.
They're having fun.
Schwindel looking for his first big league RBI. Trying to get himself another lead. Bailey ahead of him 1-2. And that's off the plate with the fastball. 2-2. Seven hits allowed, 70 pitches thrown for Homer Bailey. 2-2 to Schwindel. And he misses inside, a full count. Jose Arredondo on call in the Cincinnati bullpen.
Is he going to be able to wear all that stuff on his forearms out there pitching, Ronnie? He can't wear white.
You usually can't.
3-2. And And that misses. That's ball 4, I think. I have it at ball 4. What do you guys have?
I have ball 4 too.
And now they just told Schwindel to go to first base. Tim McClellan had no idea it was ball 4.
No, he was just not going to let him know it was good.
Yeah.
Why?
He knew, and he just was not going to tell Schwindel.
Well, kind of like every strike call, he doesn't tell anybody.
So, you know, it's not my job to tell you to go to first.
Come on.
That's what happened.
Whatever happened to take your base? Isn't that what the umpire's supposed to say?
Not tonight. Doesn't happen this way, bro. Yeah, I knew. Ball 4, what do you want me to do? So your guy doesn't know you walked.
He's never walked before. Come on. Tim McClellan's called 10,000 walks in his career. It's his Schwindel's first. Give him a break.
What a horrific walk there.
Jeez. Slashes one foul. Yeah, if you're Homer Bailey, you got to be kicking yourself. His first walk of the night. So Reyes 1 for 2. If he gets a hit this time up, he will be 3 10,000ths of a point behind Braun. Like
I am
to a 5th decimal place behind him.
I don't know why Votto is playing in front of Swindon. I don't think Reyes is going to bunt. You got a right-hand pitcher up there, but he's not holding on Swindon properly. But he's playing in front of him. I don't like that.
First and third and 1 out. And Reyes takes a strike.
Oh, that ball's down.
You thought it was low. Yep. I agree, Jose. Forget about it. Get in there. Bear down. We need to get a linea.
Like, come on, Tim. Don't you know I'm battling for a batting title? Don't you know no man has ever won it before?
You want to go up and in here.
Here's the 0-2. Slashes it foul. Got a pitch to hit there. Friday at third and Schwindel at first with 1 out. Carlos Gonzalez won the batting title last year. Handler Ramirez 2 years ago before his precipitous drop. Chipper Jones back in 08. Has 5 National League batting champs, and Reyes just got out of the way of that fastball. 1-2.
Oh, he missed the pitch prior that Reyes fouled off. He got too much of the plate, and he wasn't going to be. He was going to double up, and he was not. He was making sure he wasn't going to miss over the plate that time.
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball hit in the air to right field. Bad break by Bruce, but he gets back there. That'll get a run in. Friday comes in to score, and the Mets go back in front. Sacrifice fly for Reyes. His 41st run batted in, and it's 4-3 New York. So no turning back for Reyes. He stays put at 331, and the Mets take another lead.
You know the year that Ted Williams, we were talking about the other day, hit 406, that sacrifice flies or an at-bat?
When did that change?
I don't know when it
Sometime
changed,
in the
but
50s,
yeah,
maybe?
in the 50s. But it was an at-bat if you drove someone in, as Jose just did.
Wow.
Made it hard to hit 400. Ruben Tejada's 2 for 2 today. Ruben is single to left, single to right. He scored a run. Mets were down 2-0, up 3-2. The Reds tied it in the top of this inning, and the Mets go back in front on Reyes' sac fly after the Pridey triple. And it skips away, and Schwindel takes the base. Good base running by Schwindel on a wild pitch that didn't get far from Devin Mesoraco.
Well, he backhands it, I believe. Yep, that is improper. Nice heads up by Schwindel.
So that takes Chris into scoring position. 1954 sacrifice flies became non-at-bats.
I didn't know because I was only 1 then.
You're a bright kid, though.
Toward the middle of the diamond, and Renteria slides over to get him. Throws out to Hana by a stride to end the inning, but the Mets regain the lead. Friday with the triple. Reyes the sac fly, and it's 4-3 New York after 4. Brought to you by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the day, of course, is Pat Cawley of Glendale, New York. Contact Pat's office at patcawley.org. And by Bob's Discount Furniture, proud to be the furniture store of the New York Mets. Here's your Delta fifth inning recap. Mets were down 2-0. Nick Evans put the Mets ahead with a 2-run double in the third. Reds tied it in the fourth, and Jose Reyes drove in a run with a sacrifice fly to put the Mets back in front as we head to the fifth. Meanwhile, in Atlanta, Jimmy Rollins has just homered off Randall Delgado, and the Phillies have tied up the Braves 2-2.
Is this great or what?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
The Cardinals, who are a game behind the Braves, scoreless in the bottom of the second in Houston. That's Jaime Garcia against Wandy Rodriguez.
That's a nice pull for them. They have 3 games in Houston at the end, although Houston has played a lot better since they put the kids out there.
However, they've lost 104.
Well, but you know what I mean. They were on a pace to be Metsian at some point.
Top of the batting order, Brandon Phillips leads off. He has hit the ball hard twice, drilled a double to left in the first, and then hit a bullet on which David Wright made a leaping backhand grab in the third. And Phillips hits one well out to right center, chasing Pridey back deep in the gap. I'll tell you what, his jumps on balls are as good as we've seen.
You're so right, Gary. That ball off the bat looks like a hit from our vantage point, but as soon as you pick up Pridey, you know that he's got the jump and going to the right spot.
I mean, those are the kinds of jumps that Andy Chavez used to get on fly balls. I mean, it's certainly questionable as to whether Pridey could hit enough to be an everyday player, but he can certainly play center field like an everyday player.
Yeah, he's done it since the first day he was up this year, hasn't he?
Well, he positions himself well. You got Renteria up here, the aging Renteria does not have a quick bat. He's playing shading him to right center field.
Renteria is sacrificed and flying to right, and he takes a strike. Renteria was brought here this year to be a backup player. He's had 289 at bats now. Paul Janisch was the opening day shortstop, but he just didn't hit. Then in mid-season, the Reds called up a kid named Zach Cozart, and Cozart was only here for about 2 weeks, and he looked great. But then he hurt his elbow, had to have Tommy John surgery, and was out for the rest of the year. But Dusty Baker has already said that Cozart is going to be the front runner to be his starting shortstop going into spring training.
I mean, Tommy John you can recover from, but you know, other than pitcher and catcher, that's about as tedious a position as you have to play.
Another drive to the gap. This one's going to settle down and go to the wall. Renteria breaks it down and cruises into second base with his 14th double. So they're hitting some shots against Chris Schwinden. The 5th hit off Chris.
What'd you say about that slow bat?
Got the barrel out there, didn't he?
Didn't he?
Tried to come inside, and he turned on it.
I think he heard you. So now the tying run in scoring position. Daniel Herrera up in the Mets bullpen. Schwinden up to 80 pitches on the night. Joey Votto has a sacrifice fly, and he struck out 0 for 1. 102 RBIs now for Votto. He has been the best hitter in the National League this year with runners in scoring position. He is hitting .388 with runners in scoring position.
He's a strong kid.
Up and in, 2-0.
He likes that ball middle of the plate, likes it a little bit down and away.
And Schwinden being careful now behind 3-0. Votto leading the league in that category, and Daniel Murphy #2, and Justin Turner would be right in there in the top 3 if he had enough plate appearances this year to qualify. Here's the 2-1, and that's off the plate. 3 balls and a strike. Here's your American League wild card race, and the Rays just added a run. Kelly Shopick with a home run to put Tampa Bay up 4-2. Just got under one to center field. Votto just beside himself as Pridey puts it away for the second out. I mean, Votto had a pitch to him. He had a great swing at it, and he just missed.
Well, oh, down the middle. Yes, sir. That's that spherical baseball and that cylindrical bat. Good swing. You just didn't square it up. Got under it.
So now with 2 out, Jay Bruce is the batter. First base is open. Dan Warthen going out to the mound to talk to Schwinden. You got Bruce, a left-hand hitter at the plate. Heisy, a right-hand hitter on deck. Here's your Mazda high-speed pitch. Homer Bell, he's topped out at 95 today. And Chris Schwinden at 90. So Boston leads. Tampa Bay leads. Atlanta is tied. St. Louis is tied. Pennant race baseball. Got a pretty good possibility that there'll be 1 or more games on Thursday. Game 163.
I called the National League. Gary,
Yes, you did.
Put me on the spot too.
That game would be in St. Louis, right?
They won the toss. Yes.
And if the Red Sox and Rays, it would be in St. Pete.
St. Pete. Yes.
Bruce is 0 for 2, flying deep to center his last time up. And the curveball lined right to second, and that ends the inning. So Schwinden works around the double by Renteria. We are halfway through at Citi Field, 4-3 New York. If there's NBA basketball, that's how you'll get to see the Nets.
That's right.
Over the Brooklyn Bridge.
And they're called the Brooklyn Nets. They officially changed the name today.
As Jay-Z said, Brooklyn is the reason we're here today. In Brooklyn.
Go over the Brooklyn Bridge, go past the Watchtower, make a right, go to Atlantic Avenue, you'll be fine.
Right where the old train station used to be. Gosh, I can't tell you the number of times I came out of that train station at Atlantic and Flatbush. Now there's going to be a basketball arena there. Crazy. Willie Harris singled to center, flied out to right, 1 for 2. And he hooks one foul. Turn that ball around to the upper deck. If you've got a left-hand hitter up and you're sitting in the upper deck behind first base, you are not expecting a foul ball.
Your head's up with the righties, but not with the lefties.
David Wright on deck, then Nick Evans here in the home fifth with the Mets up 4-3. Good change up by Bailey to get Willie Harris. 6 strikeouts for Bailey, 1 out of the 5th.
You know, Bailey had a decent plan against David. First pitch, hook, first strike. 1 bounce, 0-2. Then he came in a couple of times, curve away, another fastball. He had him set up for that fastball and couldn't throw it for a strike. And you see more pitchers on a 3-2 count roll over a breaking ball. Good hitters are going to pound it.
They get me over breaking ball.
David's RBI was his 60th of the year. He's 1 for 2 on the night. And it's low and away for ball 1. Bailey's now retired the leadoff hitter in each of the first 5 innings. It's what's happened after that that has troubled him. Gave up 3 runs in the 3rd and another in the 4th. And he falls behind on right, 2-0. Fly ball deep left center. Back goes Heisy. He's got room. And he reels it in for the 2nd out. And David, as he walks back to the dugout, can think, you know, maybe next year, maybe that's a home run.
Well, I don't think they're going to bring the fence in any closer than the warning track, and I didn't get to the track.
What's the warning track? About 8 feet?
Isn't it more like 10?
10 feet.
Maybe they'll bring it in 12 feet. 2 out and nobody on. Here's Nick Evans. I mean, particularly back there where that ball was caught. I mean, that's
a deep part of the park.
That's an extraordinary distance. Forget about the fact the fence is 16 feet.
That's the old Busch Stadium dimensions. 384 in that gap in left center field. And St. Louis was the old Busch Stadium was 386 in that gap. And the only other bigger park was the Houston Astrodome, and that the gaps were 396. Talk about beating your head against a wall. Yeah. The Jimmy Wynn hit 30+ that one year, right?
Yep.
Drive to left field off the bat of Evans, and he's got his 2nd hit of the night. So Nick, who drove in 2 runs with a double his last time up, is now 2 for 3.
Bailey just can. Oh boy.
Well, the Orioles continue to be a tough out. Chris Davis with an RBI single. And the Orioles tie up the Red Sox 2-2 in the bottom of the 5th. The emotions turn on a dime within moments. Here's Tolle. I mean, think about what's happened in the last week. The Mets rallying from 4 runs down to beat the Cardinals in the 9th inning when it looked like St. Louis had swept that series and moved within a game of the Braves, and all of a sudden they were 2 back. And then the Angels last night, they thought they might be a game behind when the night ended, and it turns out they're 3 behind because the Red Sox were able to pull out their game, and they lost that horrible game to Oakland.
Well, there you have it. It's September 1st, so this would be a monumental collapse
on both parts.
Yep.
And you know, the Braves were even further in front. August 25th, they were 10.5 in front of the Cardinals.
Monumental comeback for some.
That's how you look at it. Tolle takes one the other way for a base hit. Sapelt over to cut it off, and that keeps Evans at 2nd base. So the Mets have their 9th hit of the night. Get all the latest Jets news and rumors, plus a breakdown of Sunday's matchup against the Raiders with fan discussions, player profiles, and exclusive video on Jets blog presented by Aflac, featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. I'm feeling Antonio Cromartie may not want to read that breakdown.
Well, the Raiders ran roughshod over the defense, and that's something that was just stunning, that the Raiders ran over 170 yards on them.
Yeah, but the defenses, I don't know a lot about pro football, but one thing I do know is the defenses are behind the offense right now, all around football teams.
Yeah, but are the kick returners behind too?
Well, you can't kick when you're kick returning.
You're supposed to catch the ball and run, not kick it.
That's right.
Carlos Fisher is up in the Cincinnati bullpen.
Don't get angry now. It's going to get better.
That was just brutal. Problem is now they got the Ravens and the Patriots on the road the next 2 games.
It's a tough road for them. Hey, the Raiders are no slouch. I think they've turned the corner.
And we'll find out.
Certainly got a premier running back.
At least they have a quarterback now. You know, no more Marcus Russell.
And then McFadden can run.
Yes.
Boy. Jeez.
Josh Satin 0 for 2, grounded out, struck out, and he lifts one down the right field side, and that'll go out of play. Well, the Cardinals got a run in the top of the 3rd against Wandy Rodriguez, and St. Louis jumps in front of the Astros 1-0. Matt Holliday just back in the lineup with an RBI single. So you got the Braves tied and the Cardinals in front. You've got the Red Sox tied and the Rays in front. So both those races could be tied at the end of the night.
It would be, I think it would be wonderful.
Thursday beckons. Where are you going to be Thursday, Ronnie?
Well, we might be on a plane after the game on Wednesday.
Now, if there are 2 games Thursday, where do you go?
I don't know. I'm usually not told to the last minute. I'm on a need-to-know basis.
And you don't need to know?
Exactly.
Jason Priddy on deck. Ronnie will be doing the postseason on TBS again this year. Hope you have a great time.
Well, it's going to be, I mean, to see these races come down. I've already done 2 game 163s, and they are fantastic.
Where are you going to be Thursday, Gare?
On the couch.
Watching the games?
Watching Ronnie. Now the 1-2 to Satin, and the breaking ball bounced foul. Down to Chip Hale. That guy tried to steal the ball from the kid.
That's how it happens. It happens. But he got it.
Good for the kid that he got it.
Oh, he threw it to a Reds guy. All right.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's a kid.
It's the Reds dugout. You expect to have Reds fans there.
Come on.
Still up, you got a front row seat, right?
Not quite a Bartman, but I mean.
Oh. Wow. Oh. Inside, and Satin is hit by the pitch. That'll load him up. So after Bailey retired the first 2 here in the 5th, couple of hits and a hit batsman, filled him up for the suddenly red hot Jason Priddy.
Trying to come inside.
Well, Satin, the only regular without a hit in the Mets lineup, but now he has a hit of sorts. So here's Priddy, who tripled to right field his last time up and scored the go-ahead run. 6 hits in his last 8 at bats.
I know there's been one ball, as you see Paulino on deck, that has gotten by Mesoraco. But if you watch him catch, guys, he has been as quiet, catches the ball nicely, good target, and as low a target as you're going to see by any catcher this year.
Ball and a strike to Friday. In Atlanta, Raul Ibanez with an RBI single in the top of the 6th. Phillies 3, Braves 2.
Oh, and Houston tied it up.
No chops right now.
Houston with a run in the bottom of the 3rd off Jaime Garcia. That was on a squeeze bunt by Wandy Rodriguez. How about that?
Wow. You were calling for it here with Swindon.
1-1 to Friday with the bases full. And Jason takes a strike. 1-2.
One thing I see about Bailey, he's been hurt with his breaking ball. He likes his breaking ball. He gets ahead of hitters with his fastball. And he wants to monkey around with the, we see Igarashi getting up.
I think you're right, Keith. It's almost like he gets into strikeout mode. You don't need strikeout, just get it out.
Now his head on Friday, 1-2. Inside with the fastball, 2-2.
Oh, he had to say my fault. Yeah. Don't want to get your home plate umpire upset.
Oh, he started walking off.
Sorry, Your Highness.
Was that Doug Harvey? No, I'm sorry, he was the Lord. It's a higher calling.
Well, let's see if 101 pitches. Let's see if Cliff Lee can shut the door, Ronnie, and get those good pitchers a lead late. 3-2 Philly.
Swing and a miss. Friday goes down to the high fastball, and Bailey leaves him loaded in the 5th. 5 in the books. 4-3 New York. Preview of tomorrow's Mets-Reds matchup with live reports and exclusive interviews in the Wheelhouse, presented by Pepsi, part of the New York Sports Local. Tomorrow at 5:30 on SNY. Changes for the Mets. Nick Evans moves from right field to first base. Mike Baxter comes in to play right. And on to pitch for the Mets is Daniel Herrera.
He's only given up a run in his last 5 outings on a couple of hits.
Chris Heisy leads off in the 6th inning. Heisy's 1 for 2. Singled, stole a base, scored a run in the 4th. And he drives one into center field for a base hit. So the tying run aboard with nobody out. Let's check in with the studio. Chris Carlin standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. All right, we'll keep you up to date on all those games. In Baltimore, the Orioles, after tying the game, had the bases loaded and 1 out against Beckett, who got out of it.
Oh.
So that game remains tied as they go to the 6th in Baltimore. Ground ball off the glove of the diving Evans, and everybody's safe. So Evans just came in from right field to first base to tighten up the defense, but couldn't make that play, and Francisco has an infield hit.
Well, ball not hit hard and just off the glove of Nick, and do not get the fortunate ricochet off of his glove. It could have been worse.
So first and second and nobody out. Now Dave Sapelt, who drove in a run with a base hit his last time up. He's 1 for 2. He's stolen a base and scored a run. And up there looking to bunt. Takes ball 1. You got the number 8 hitter Mesoraco waiting on deck. So Herrera's given up back-to-back hits to start the inning. Let's play the defense straight up. That's going to be hard to throw him out, and Wright can't even pick it up. And the bases are loaded. A perfect bunt by Dave Sapelt.
Sacrifice off the end of the bat, as you can see, and that deadens it. And Bud Harrelson is smiling right now if he's watching.
So 3 straight hits. And the Reds have the bases loaded and nobody out. Terry Collins on its way to the mound. And Herrera will take an exit. And the Mets will bring in Igarashi to face the right-hand hitter Mesoraco. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. 4-3 New York in the 6th. We'll be right back. Official score, and Jordan just scored this in error on David Wright.
I just don't think he's going to throw anybody out.
I don't even think he was going to throw the ball. I think he was going to pick it up and put it in his pocket.
The way that play is run is that the third baseman waits to see how the bunt is laid down, and then if he has to proceed to make the play because the pitcher can't get over there, he comes in. When he comes in, he had no chance to throw the runner at first. Out. No chance. No chance. I'll say it one more time.
That's got to be a base hit 100% of the time.
No doubt. And I'm going to mark that with pencil.
You think he's going to change it?
He might.
Igarashi in to face Devin Mesoraco. Bases loaded, nobody out, with the Mets protecting a 1-run lead. And Mesoraco pops one straight up. Who's going to get it? The call by Evans, infield fly rule was invoked, so the batter was out anyway. And that's the first down. Well, let's go back to that bunt play and watch where Sapelt is when David tries to pick it up.
Why don't we just freeze it right now? Well, he would have been out. Could have been.
Let it go. Let it go.
Now run it.
He's not throwing him out.
I still say that's a tough error, boy. Oh well.
So 1 out.
There's bigger problems in the world today than whether it's an error or a base hit.
Yonder Alonso will be the pinch hitter. Alonso, the University of Miami product, who they can't figure out where to play, but who can hit.
Yeah.
At 341 this year. He's been down with an ankle injury, and all he can do is pinch hit right now. And so Dusty Baker will play this card here in the 6th inning. So Alonso up against Igarashi with the bases loaded and 1 out. Igarashi getting 1 big out with Mesoraco popping up. Now the Mets looking for the double play possibility. And with Alonso running on that bad ankle, any ground ball, you have to figure they have a pretty good chance of turning 2. Bill Bray, the left-hander. Logan Andrusik is the right-hander of the Cincinnati bullpen. And Igarashi behind on Alonso, 2-0. There's only one person happy about that scoring decision.
Yes.
Daniel Herrera.
Yeah,
It's the pitcher.
Chance at unearned runs.
See so many guys. I mean, bases loaded, nobody out. Mesoraco took a grand slam swing and popped it up. His first 2 previous at bats, he had nice at bats, hit line drives, double, and then he wants to hit a bomb.
Everybody likes hitting home run.
Yeah,
Don't chicks dig the long ball. 2-1 from Igarashi, and it's high and tight. Now he's in danger of walking in the tying run. Not a good number for Igarashi, straining inherited runners. Only 57%. Brandon Phillips on deck. Now the 3-1. And Alonso takes it right down the middle, 3-2.
What are you looking for, young man?
Well, it's been one of the themes of our season, isn't it?
Jeez.
Guys taking 3-1 fastballs right down the middle.
What, you want to hit a split fender or a curveball? Maybe get him on the couch.
So now we'll see the 3-2. And he strikes him out. Igarashi takes care of Alonso, comes back from 3-1 to get him with the fastball. 2 out.
Well, up the ladder. And that's a low ball hitter right there. And he takes a 3-1 fastball down in the strike zone in his zone as Burdock gets up. And then he gets punched out.
So here's Brandon Phillips, 1 for 3, doubled and scored in the first, robbed of a hit on a great play by Wright in the third, and then flied out of the 5th. Homer Bailey out of the game after 5 innings. Better performance than his first start against the Mets, but gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. So now Phillips with the bases loaded and 2 out, and he goes after a pitch out of the strike zone, 0-1. 2 hits and an error, loading the bases here in the 6th with nobody out. Igarashi's gotten the first 2, and now a hit on Phillips.
It's a guess hitting team, isn't it?
Well, there's so many guess hitters today.
But this whole team is just, when they decide to swing, they're going to let it go. They're so talented, athletically, get away with it.
Ground ball, Tejada's there. And so Igarashi comes in with the bases loaded and nobody out, and the Reds do not score. Best effort of the year for Igarashi. Keeps it a 4-3 Met lead. Game 2 of this final series as the Mets and Reds hook up. Chris Capuano makes his final start tomorrow for the Mets. And Bronson Arroyo, who I don't think will allow 6 home runs tomorrow, but if he did, he'd tie a record. He's given up 44 this year.
He's coming off a 6-hit shutout piece, though, isn't he?
And he generally pitches his best against the Mets. Bill Bray will come on in relief for the 78th time for Cincinnati.
Yeah, you're right. Boy, what a workhorse he's been all year. 5-3 record. Saves. Well, he's not the guy that's ever pitched in the 9th, so that's kind of a misleading thing. 78th appearance, only in the 40s in innings. Specialist.
Mike Baxter came into the double switch in the last inning. He'll lead off in the bottom of the 6th. Baxter had himself quite a game in right field yesterday. He had everything and the kitchen sink hit at him. He caught everything hit at him, and he threw out a runner at the plate.
First assist. That's a Met.
Well, the Houston Astros are putting a little crimp in the Cardinals' run. Houston has just scored 2 in the bottom of the 4th, and they lead St. Louis 4-1.
A long way to go in that game, but
so now the Braves and Cardinals are both trailing. Todd Frazier, who captained the Toms River Little League team that won the Little League World Series back in the late 90s. Now a Cincinnati Red. He has tons of friends and family on it. He's been a little banged up. He got hit in the hand by a pitch the other day, and he was afraid it had broken. He got hit by Joel Hanrahan, 97 miles an hour. X-rays showed no break. But Frazier certainly would like to get into this series close to home.
Hanrahan was arguing that he didn't get out of the way. Who could? 97 miles an hour.
By the way, those 2 Houston runs came on a home run by Matt Downs. So it's Houston 4, St. Louis 1, bottom of the 4th. 3-2 now to Baxter with Reyes and Tejada to follow. Swing and a miss, and Bray strikes out Baxter for the first out. So 1 away. Now here comes Reyes for his 4th plate appearance. He's grounded out, single to center, and hit a sacrifice fly, so officially 1 for 2. His batting average at .33143. Ryan Braun, who is not playing tonight, at least not starting for Milwaukee, at .33273. Reyes will bat right-handed for the first time tonight. And pops up the first pitch he sees from Bray, but that'll make it back out of play. Reyes sitting about 20 points lower from the right side than he is from the left side. But he's done well against Bray. 2 hits and 5 career at bats. Pulled off that pitch, and it's 0-2. And he lines one into center field for a base hit. Reaching out across the plate on an 0-2 pitch, and Reyes is now mere minuscule fractions behind Ryan Braun.
Well, another changeup that's out of the strike zone, and that's just letting go with one hand, and that's just good hitting. Nicely done.
Ryan Braun is now at .33273. Reyes .33270. Wow. It's that close. Officially .333, but Braun, if you go to the 5th decimal place, is 3 10,000ths ahead of Reyes. There you have it. So it is as close as it could possibly be, and then even closer. Reyes with his 56th multiple hit game of the season. Tejada's 2 for 3 tonight. And he slices one foul, and it's 1-1. Mets now with 10 hits in the game. They got 9 of them against Homer Bailey, who gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. Struck out 7, but left trailing. Ball and 2 strikes on Tejada with Willie Harris on deck. By the way, we assume everybody knows this, because, you know, we've been figuring these things out all our lives. But just in case there's somebody out there that doesn't, how do you compute a batting average? You take the number of hits, you divide it by the number of at-bats, and you get a fraction.
Yep.
And that's what a batting average is. And that's why you can go down to 5 or 6 or even 7 decimal places before you finally get a winner in a batting race.
But why don't you tell them, Gary, the formula for the ERAs? That's much more interesting to me.
But we don't have an ERA.
But I noticed the fans might want to know.
It's earned runs multiplied by 9 divided by innings pitched.
Correct. And if it's 2/3, you got to go to decimals, obviously. So it's all very interesting for you future mathematicians out there.
Well, there was a day, Keith, before the calculator, where you would have to calculate it with fractions. Easier now.
You remember those days?
Oh. Actually having to do math. Reyes takes off. The throw by Mesoraco, not in time. And Reyes does a stolen base, his 38th.
Well, backhands it off the dirt on the pickup. Too big a jump.
Just tag on the foot. Reyes in already, though.
So the Mets have their first stolen base of the night. A runner in scoring position for Harris with a 2-0 count. Willie had only hit 3rd in the order twice before this week. Now he's done it 3 games in a row. And now facing the lefty, and he takes it high, although Harris has done surprisingly well against lefties in limited at-bats this year.
That's one of the few teams, because of these late injuries, that playing a little shorthanded in September.
And that's inside, ball 4, or they called it a strike. Wait a week and a half, and Timmy will let you know.
I thought this was a ball inside. What do you think, Keith?
I agree.
Look at how Mesoraco had to move to get it.
Wants it away. You can see the. Oh, that's close.
Here's the 3-1. And I believe that's ball 4. It's exhausting. It's just exhausting every time a ball has the plate.
No.
Oh, Baltimore.
Orioles have gone in front.
Wow.
3-2 over Boston. Here comes Dusty Baker, and he's going to make a move and bring in a right-hander to face David Wright. Logan Ondrusek will come in to pitch. Mets have 2 out and 2 on with a 4-3 lead in the bottom of the 6th. As Breed takes his exit, we'll be right back.
66 games for Andrusik.
Well, we're following the wild card races, and in Baltimore, stunning development. Jacoby Ellsbury unable to catch a drive at the fence, and the Orioles lead the Red Sox now 6-2.
Oh boy, and that's in the bottom of the 6th, and they're still hitting, and Tampa Bay still holding on to that 4-2 lead in the top of the 7th. That could be before the night's out. Tied with 2 to play.
They called that an inside the park home run for Robert Andino.
Wow.
A 3-run inside the park home run to make it 6-2. Now Andino had a huge hit the other day against
Tampa Bay?
Yeah, against Tampa Bay. Got a 3-run double that beat them. So 6-2 Baltimore. Rays leading. So if those scores hold up, they'll be tied at the end of the night. David Wright 1 for 3, and he fouls one back our way.
Al, look out.
Almost got our high home cameraman Al. That is as close as we have ever come
that was
to
awesome.
having a ball in the booth here at Citi Field.
Look at Al. He's melting it.
You know, he keeps a low profile, but there's a little star waiting to be born inside of Al.
I will say one thing. Al was ready for it.
Ready for it. He did the little skip to my Lou. Forget about ready for it.
He was ready to sacrifice the $75,000 camera just so he didn't get hit. You kidding me?
That's as close as it's come to getting in our booth since we opened up in the stadium.
Two and one to Wright with 2 out and 2 on. And now 3-1 with Nick Evans waiting on deck. And David drives one to center field. Heisy going back, diving, and he made the catch. That's an outstanding play by Chris Heisy, taking an extra base hit away from Wright and saving 2 runs. Heisy, normally a corner outfielder, showing off his skills in center field with the diving backhand catch. Keeps it a 1-run ball game as we head to the 7th. Sports content, including up-to-the-minute sports news and original video. Visit Facebook and like SNY today. 7th inning, 4-3 New York. Ryota Igarashi, who did a masterful job in the 6th, stays on for the 7th and gets ahead of Edgar Renteria. Igarashi came into the 6th with the bases loaded and nobody out. Got Mesoraco to pop up, struck out Alonso, and got Phillips on a ground ball to keep the Mets in front. Renteria 1 for 2 in a sacrifice, double deep to left center his last time, and he takes high and tight 1-1.
You can't do that. You cannot do that.
It's way too close.
That is getting right behind home plate almost. He's got to get in the on deck circle. That's what's there for.
Got a 1-2 count. Let one go over there. I bet you get back.
Maybe we can get camera 2 on that shot down there, Votto. Look at no, that's not camera 2.
What are you directing?
Al,
he's trying.
Come on now, you got pulled with Webby. Look at that. Look where he's at.
It's umpire's job to get him out of
there. You can't be there. That's just too good a look.
Now, have you ever seen an umpire move a hitter?
Yes,
absolutely,
all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got moved. I used to always try that trick. Not so I used to be a little more sneaky, but no, that was very much enforced.
Slow ground ball. Reyes can wait on it with Renteria going, and he gets it by a stride and a half, 1 away. You know, there was a time when photographers stood in that area.
That's right. Even closer, Gary.
I had a hunch he was going to go to the lefty.
So Terry Collins will make a pitching change after Igarashi faced 4 batters and retired them all. That was a major outing for Igarashi. And Collins can't help but be happy. Now Tim Burnack will come in to face the lefties, Votto and Bruce, with the Mets up a run in the 7th. We'll be right back.
The Mets have been suffering that flu bug, viral bug that's been going around the clubhouse since he's been a guy, though, that pitches 1 inning or 1 batter. He's been able to fend it off a bit.
Same thing that's kept Jason Bay out this entire homestand. Here's Joey Votto, who's 0 for 2 in a sacrifice fly. And it's lined into right center, a base hit for Votto. So he has his first hit of the night.
Well, Votto hits lefties so well, he stays in. This was a little Laredo where Burdick dropped down on him, and he stayed right in. Watch that shoulder stay in. He hung it. It's a little too quick. Got towards the end.
Now Burdick will face Jay Bruce. And remember when we were in Cincinnati, we told you about last year when the Reds clinched the National League Central. They clinched it by Jay Bruce hitting a home run off Tim Burdick. And then Burdick got a little measure of revenge when he faced Bruce in Cincinnati.
Cut him out a couple times in that series.
Now he faces him with a tying run at first and 1 out of the 7th. Good slider, and it's 1-1. The Cardinals got a run back against the Astros. Run coming home on a double play. They still trail 4-2 at the bottom of the 5th. So the Braves and Cardinals both trail. So do the Red Sox, Tampa Bay leading. Josh Stinson up in the Mets bullpen. Two sliders in a row to get him ahead 1-2. Well, this was our Toyota text ball. Which team do you think will miss? And
wow,
the Red Sox are the team. Between Red Sox and both, that's 61% of the people thinking the Red Sox aren't going to make it. And they trail tonight while Tampa Bay leads.
I don't know if you had a chance, guys, to read any of the Boston papers the last couple of days before yesterday's doubleheader, but the vitriol towards the Red Sox has been wow.
They've been killing them.
Oh,
take no prisoners.
I'm wincing. I'm not on the team.
That's the Northeast for you.
Well, their pitching has just been, it's been horrible. I mean, they've had some other issues. Into center field. Pridey got a late start this time, and it drops. Harris gets it on a hop. Votto takes a wide turn, and Harris held onto the ball rather than throwing behind him.
Well, Votto does the right thing here. You never know, you might boot it. Makes a hard turn. Watch him here. That's not taking anything for granted. He could boot it. He says nope. I think he had ideas though. They would have been out by a mile.
So Burdick faces the two lefties, gives up 2 hits, and now he'll exit, and Stinson will come in to face the right-hand hitter Heisy. So with the Mets hanging on to a 1-run lead in the 7th, the Reds have 2 men aboard as Stinson enters the game. We'll be back to Flushing in a moment. Josh Stinson tries to stem the tide here in the 7th.
Josh had a comeback outing against the Philadelphia Phillies in yesterday's game. 1 hit, 1 inning, no runs.
Facing Chris Heisy, who's 2 for 3 today, and he tries the first pitch deep to left. Harris goes back, looks up, and it's out of here. Chris Heisy with a 3-run homer to put the Reds back in front, 6-4. Number 18 for Heisy on the first pitch thrown by Josh Stinson.
Well, 3rd hit of the night for Heisy. And always said, you get pitchers and men on base, a relief pitcher comes in, always be first ball hitting. You get something, anything close, fastball, jump on it.
And he jumped.
Hanging slider. Goodbye.
Now the Reds lead the National League in home runs. That's their 181st.
Bottom of the 6th. Great catch against David Wright. 3-run home run on the top of the 7th.
Well, that's a flat slider, folks. Like I said before, on the same plane, right over the middle, right on. That's the jaws of death right there.
Josh couldn't look.
And he knew he made a boo-boo.
Nothing you can do there. You're hoping that Citi Field does something.
It's not that big.
No.
2-0 to Juan Francisco. He yanks one foul. Francisco 1 for 3, had an infield hit his last time up. So 2 runs are charged to Burdack, who faced 2 hitters, gave up 2 hits, and now 2 runs. And thus Burdack is now on the hook as pitcher of record on the short side. Each team now with 10 hits in the game. Stinson missing badly, 3 balls and a strike. Josh got off to a terrific start when he first came up, but he is backslid a little bit. Burdack feeling no better. Antibiotics not helping when you give up 2 hits and 2 runs.
You know, whenever you play this game of, boy, it feels like bullpen roulette, doesn't it? Whenever you start playing that game and you're the left-handed specialist, you don't get the lefties out, bad things are going to happen.
Popped up, shallow left center, and Friday calls, 2 out. In Atlanta, the Phillies have added a run in the top of the 8th inning. Phillies 4, Braves 2. So Atlanta trails, St. Louis trails.
I felt, Gary, and I said it yesterday, that Philly needed a series like this. They came in to begin the series with the Mets. They came in with a 6-game losing streak, had an 8 with the doubleheader sweep, broke that. Now they're in Atlanta and back on point, it looks like, even though they're still struggling offensively.
Well, Charlie Manuel made a statement yesterday by playing all of his regulars in that game, and they jumped on Mike Pelfrey and they bashed the Mets for 9 runs and 19 hits yesterday. Maybe that's all it took.
It was almost like, you know what, we lost 2 games. It's time to turn it up.
On the way, that insurance run for the Phillies, another Raul Ibanez hit. You know, if you're 39 and you're coming down the stretch of the season, you're supposed to be fading a little bit. He's getting hotter. Nick Massett up in the bullpen for the Reds.
He's always been one of the Phillies that has played best in their day games the last couple of seasons.
You know, it's really hard to imagine, too, how in the world can the Phillies lose 8 in a row with that starting rotation? That's going almost twice through it.
It does seem unbelievable, but
yeah,
they didn't score at all. A couple of 1-0 losses, and I mean, a lot of those pitchers were on their way to being legitimate candidates for Kershaw for that Cy Young, and they're going to get some great votes.
Lee went 6 innings tonight, gave up 2 runs, 5 hits in that game. In his last start, tuning up for, I guess, a game 2 start.
Yeah, Halladay and Lee. Only with that team would Lee start game number 2.
3-2 to Sapelt, and it's high and tight for ball 4. So that keeps the inning going. Sapelt is on base again. He's twice on errors, had a hit, and now a walk. And now Devin Mesoraco, who drove in a run with a double back in the second. Last time up, came up with the bases loaded, nobody out. First pitch swinging against Igarashi, he popped one up. First pitch swinging worked for Chris Heisy. Here in the seventh, a 3-run homer off Stinson that has given the Reds a 2-run lead. Strike called to Mesoraco. Well, the home run means that Chris Schwinden will go winless in his first 4 big league starts. Second straight start that he left with a lead. Out to left field, and Harris is there. That retires the side, but one swing of the bat by Chris Heisy has turned this game around. Heisy's 18th home run of the year, a 3-run shot. Turns a 4-3 Met lead into a 6-4 Cincinnati edge. 7th inning stretch at Citi Field. Reds in front, moves from center field to left field. Drew Stubbs comes in the game in center. He'll bat 9th. And the new pitcher for the Reds, Nick Masset, will hit 7th in the order.
I was talking to some of the people that do the television games here for the Cincinnati Reds, and I asked them about Nick Masset because I love his stuff. And they say that he has an overpowering curveball, overpowering fastball, and they're always surprised when anyone hits the baseball.
Tom Brenneman and Chris Welsh, who do the Reds TV.
I got my info from the Cowboy.
Jeff Brenneman.
There you go.
Nick Evans will lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the 7th. So this game is not fair when it comes to meeting out wins and losses for pitchers. Logan Ondrusek came in the 6th inning. He faced one batter. David Wright hit a bullet to the gap in left center. Heisy made a diving catch, and now Ondrusek could be a winning pitcher. Evans is 2 for 3 tonight. He's driven in a pair of runs. It's a ball and a strike. Dale Thayer up in the Mets bullpen now. Josh Stinson with a lot to chew on after giving up that home run to Heisy.
It'll be interesting for Stinson, right? I mean, he's gotten his feet wet. He's gotten more good appearances than bad, but something definitely to chew on this winter and what he needs to work on to go to that next level. That'll be a little more consistency with his slider and an ability to maybe to sink his fastball a little more. But He showed some good promise at times. Wow, what a curveball that was. Best I've seen all year. Watch this one, Keith.
Down looking on the curve by Massett.
Even you can't hit this one.
Well, you never know.
Exactly the reaction I was expecting.
Pretty good one. Yes, sir. Off the table.
Here's Josh Tolley with 1 out and nobody on. Now Pascucci on deck to pinch hit as Tolley takes high. The Rays have just added a run at the bottom of the 7th. Tampa Bay 5, the Yankees 2. So things going better and better for the Rays tonight with Red Sox down 4 runs in the 8th.
Tell you what, I'm more impressed with the fastball, Ronnie. That's a great curve. He's got some gas to go with it, Massett.
Throws 95, 96 miles an hour.
So the question is, why aren't his numbers better?
Well, that's the rub.
I mean, here's a guy, Massett, who's given up 76 hits in 68 innings with 31 walks. That's a lot of base runners in 68 innings. His whip is over 1.5. Here's the 2-1 to Tolley, and he's late on the fastball, 2-2.
What I've heard about Massett is that he gets into strikeout mode. You know, Gary, that he just wants to embarrass hitters up there and gets into long counts, a lot of 2-2, 3-2 pitches, and you know, you miss here and there, you get some bad numbers.
To Tolley, and the curveball is fouled at the plate. Josh happy to still be there.
That's a double hit by Josh.
He's got to laugh. He's got to laugh, Adam. Watch
this double hit.
How'd that happen, he said.
Two and two now to Josh Tolley. And Massett couldn't get him to go around. 3-2. Massett, 29 years old, started out his career with the Rangers, then the White Sox. Now in his 4th year with the Reds. Bullpen has not been a big problem for Cincinnati. Tolley hits it out to left, and Heisy easing back. 2 out. Valentino Pascucci will be the pinch hitter for New York. Pascucci had a terrific weekend against the Phillies. Had a tying home run in the first game on Saturday, then an RBI single in the game yesterday. They're going to the 9th in Atlanta. Phillies 4, Braves 2.
Did you hear Pascucci's song when he comes to the plate?
No, I didn't notice.
We love me when they call me Big Papa. We were talking about Brooklyn before. That's Biggie Smalls, so Biggie Smalls fan.
Well, he's Biggie, all right.
Yeah.
All 6'6", 270 pounds of him. What about Smalls? Oh, the curveball for Massett for a strike, 1-2.
That'll get your attention.
Pascucci tried to lay off, and he stopped it in time. Marvin Hudson with the call, 2-2.
He got that bat back quick. What do you think, Keith?
I think he held up. That's a better view right here. What do you think, Ron? I think he held up.
So strong to hold that bat back.
And he's worked the count full. Del Thayer ready to pitch in the top of the 8th. 3-2 to Pascucci. That number 15 looks very small on him. He should be like a 44.
Yeah.
Cut at the fastball, and Pascucci's out on strikes. Massive with a pair of strikeouts in the inning. That's 11 tonight for Cincinnati pitching. 6-4 Reds as we go to the 8th.
Well, Dale pitched in yesterday's ball game, kind of a bend but did not break. 3 hits and 2 innings pitched with a couple of punch outs.
Drew Stubbs, who came in the double switch, leads off for the Reds in the 8th inning. We talked about Stubbs earlier and his 203 strikeouts. Only the second player in history to strike out 200 times in a season. By the way, it doesn't look like Reynolds is going to get there this year. He has only struck out 190 for Baltimore.
He's had a good year if you look at his numbers. He's got 37 home runs.
Jose Arredondo up in the bullpen. By the way, speaking of home runs, in Arizona tonight, first time up, Matt Kemp, 3-run homer. He now leads the home run race, his 38th, one ahead of Pujols. He extends his lead in the RBI race. And Kemp with that hit now hitting 325, still 8 points behind Braun and Reyes, but still alive in his bid for a Triple Crown. Trying for the first Triple Crown in the National League in 74 years.
If he'd gotten the Triple Crown, you think he would have gotten the MVP?
I think he's getting it anyway.
But really? Okay.
He's my MVP.
Yeah.
I don't know how you vote against him.
No, I'm not saying that.
I mean, who would you vote?
No, I like him. I just, to me, it's interesting. You're going to have the MVP and the Cy Young with a team, that 500 team.
Last time that happened, the 1962 Dodgers had the MVP in Maury Wills and the Cy Young in Don Drysdale. Strike 3 call, making 204 strikeouts for Drew Stubbs. One out of the 8th. Let's check in with Chris Carlin, New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Stand kind of an inning for the Red Sox. Here's Brandon Phillips, 1 for 4, doubled and scored back in the first. Now facing Dale Thayer, the Mets' 6th pitcher of the night. Chris Schwinden went 5, left with a lead, allowed just 2 earned runs and 5 hits in 5 innings. But Daniel Barrera gave up a couple of hits in the 6th. Igarashi was great. Faced 4 and retired 4, 3 of those with the bases loaded. You can see Matt Kemp's numbers as he bids for that elusive triple crown. Still 8 points back. That's a big hill to climb.
He needs a 4 for 4 tonight. That's what he needs. Yeah, that's a long way to climb.
To the right side. Evans makes the toss to Thayer, 2 out. You know, the other thing about Kemp is that, you know, he won the Gold Glove 2 years ago. And obviously took a big step back in a terrible year in every respect last year. But he's also a Gold Glove center fielder in addition to all those offensive numbers.
Yeah, you're right about it. I didn't think about that. I thought you saw the MVP candidates below him. We're all having amazing years. You know, like Poole's having a good year, not great. I would say Ryan Braun's having a great year.
Well, Braun to me is his biggest competition.
Yes.
And even Fielder said that last night. He said, look, no matter what I've done, Ryan Braun is the MVP.
I'd have to cast my vote. If he doesn't get the Triple Crown, I'd have to cast it with the team that won, and I'd have to cast it on Braun.
Yep.
Renteria slugs one to center, but Pridey is there. So Thayer comes in, forges a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th at Citi Field. Mets down by 2. Reyes will get it turned at bat in the bottom of the 8th. Comes in to play shortstop, and right-hander Jose Arredondo will set up.
Well, great stuff. 92 to 95 miles an hour. Works kind of slow though. Good split finger pitch. His problem has always been the control. 30 walks and 51 innings.
At a time when he was the setup man for Francisco Rodriguez with the Angels, and Arredondo's career got off to a flying start there. Now setting up for Francisco Cordero. I think Cordero has more saves than any active pitcher other than Mariano.
Yes.
Jason Pridey, Mike Baxter, and Jose Reyes coming up for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th. Mets trailed 2-0, led 3-2. Reds tied it. Mets led 4-3, but Chris Heisy's 3-run homer in the 7th put the Reds in front. And Pridey's swinging and missing at the changeup, 0-1. Pridey with a triple to right field, tripling for the 2nd straight game in the 4th inning, and came in to score a run. He has struck out in his other 2 at-bats. One and one to Pridey. Arredondo, the 5th Cincinnati pitcher of the night. Loves that splitter, doesn't he?
Who wouldn't?
That's what gets him in trouble. He walks people.
Yep.
You know, when he throws it great, he's going to make hitters look bad. But if you're inconsistent,
just that this young man has such a good fastball, he should use it more.
A hit on Pridey, 1-2. Fastball misses 2-2. By the way, the Red Sox did not score after loading the bases in the top of the 8th. Still Baltimore 6, Boston 2, bottom 8. Tampa Bay leading the Yankees 5-2, bottom 8. Now the 2-2, and Pridey down on strikes for the 3rd time today. And it's 12 strikeouts for Cincinnati pitching. Let's find out what's coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night and check in with Gary Apple.
Gary, thanks so much. Coming up tonight, a bit of surprising news surrounding the Knicks' Carmelo Anthony. Going to have that. Plus, we go one-on-one with the Jets head coach, Rex Ryan. See you tonight, guys.
All right, Gary, more on that later. Now here's Mike Baxter, who has struck out in his only at-bat. Came in a double switch in the 6th. And Arredondo misses for ball 1. Well, Jose Reyes is waiting on deck. And if Reyes can get a base hit this at bat, he will take over the National League batting lead. You have to go to the 5th decimal place to find out how far behind he is.
And it's on a night when Ryan Braun was not in the starting lineup.
I said he was 3 10,000ths behind. I was wrong. He's 300,000ths behind.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't believe there's ever been a race that close at the end of the year. Now it's 3-0 to Baxter. They're in the bottom of the 9th in Atlanta. Braves have a runner at second base. Down by 2 runs to the Phillies as Ryan Madsen tries to close them out. And Baxter's on with a walk. So the Mets will get the tying run to bat with Reyes coming up. Jose tonight 2 for 3 in a sacrifice fly. He's stolen a base. He's scored a run. His batting average is at 3.3270, while Ryan Braun is at 3.32273. That's how close it is. So a base hit here, he would jump in front. Tough pitcher to get hits against. One thing about Reyes, as this batting race has moved down the stretch, he's been walking a lot more.
He should get a fastball here, though. After a walk, 1 on the split finger first pitch, he definitely should get a fastball here. And he doesn't. Gee, he loves it.
I saw him in Cincinnati. He got a great fastball, and he's just in love with his split finger. And he's for every one he throws perfect, you're going to get 2 up on the strike zone.
Yeah.
Ball and a strike to Reyes. And it's up and in. 2-1. We were talking about Reyes and walks. He's drawn as many walks in his last 18 games as he did in his previous 62 games. Bobby Parnell up in the bullpen.
It's a good thing, isn't it, guys? When he's walking, means he's seeing the ball well.
Well, he's been very focused all year from the get-go.
Yep.
You know, much more patient at the plate, showing a much better eye.
Line drive, right field, base hit, going toward the corner. Reyes has his 3rd hit of the night. Baxter being waved around third. He He's heading for the plate. Reyes may get trapped off second, and he's tagged out by Yanish. Reyes took a turn at second base, slammed on the brakes, and is thrown out. He was the tying run erased. He gets his third hit of the night to take over the batting lead and drives in a run with a double, but then a base running mistake.
Well, he rips this ball in the corner, and he really didn't run hard. I think he's favoring the leg. It would have been an automatic triple if Reyes is 100% healthy. But he gets confused rounding second. And you've got to know the situation. And he's a veteran. He should know better. That being said, 3 hits for the night, and he takes the lead over in the National League batting title.
Now hitting .334 to lead Braun by a point. He's at .33396. Braun at .33273, so leading by a little more than a point now. His RBI double gets the Mets within a run at 6-5. And there is the up to the minute tally. Reyes, now your National League batting leader. Tejada swings and misses 1-1.
In a weird way, in his entire career, as you see the relievers in the bullpen, in his entire career here, Reyes has probably never had to make that decision.
It's always gone straight to third base. Tejada 2 for 4 on the night. Final score in Atlanta, Phillies beat the Braves 4-2. So Atlanta now down to a half-game lead over St. Louis. The Cardinals trail their game 4-2 in the 7th. But the Braves just can't score enough to win right now. That's 3 runs in their last 3 games. They led by 10.5 games on August the 25th. It's now a half a game. Going away to Tejada, 3-1. And the Braves are desperate enough for pitching right now, as well as their offense, that they're talking about Jair Jurgens coming back. He threw 3 innings in instructional league yesterday, and they're talking about him coming back. And if the Braves get to the postseason, pitching in the postseason. 3-1 to Tejada. And it's down the middle of strike, 3-2.
That's a good at bat right there for Tejada. You know, you're down a run. You're the number 2 hitter. You take a 3-run strike.
Line drive, base hit, and Tejada has his 3rd hit of the game. So the Mets, after Reyes' RBI double, he gets caught right in the bag at second, and he knows he would have been home with the tying run now. Brian Price out to visit Arredondo.
So Arredondo is one of those guys, Ronnie, he gets behind in that split finger and he throws hard. He makes too many fat pitches with his fastball.
You can only pitch backward if you have the ability to throw pitches for strikes. He's got one of the best pitches you'll ever see, but he cannot throw them for strikes. I mean, simple as that. You could probably take an at bat off him and never swing the bat and walk 50% of the time.
Sam LaCure quickly up in the Cincinnati bullpen as Arredondo struggles here in the 8th. Now Willie Harris is 1 for 3 and a walk. Here's Reyes running out that double. Take a look.
Take a look at Chip Hale, see what he does. He's sending the front runner. No, he's holding him all the way.
Do you think that Reyes could have seen Chip waving?
No, well, Chip always comes down the line, if you noticed all year. When Chip comes down the line towards home plate for the lead runner, and then he scoots up quickly into the outfield position to get the back runner. So I don't think there was any confusion there.
There goes Tejada. The throw on the way from Mesoraco, and he's out at second base. So Tejada, who stole a key base late in the game the other day against the Phillies, this time gets caught carrying the tying run.
Well, when you're down a run late, you better make it.
Mesoraco throwing out Tejada by an eyelash. 6-5 Cincinnati. Bobby Parnell will pitch the 9th inning for New York.
Boy, it's been interesting watching Bobby Parnell. As soon as he got that little knuckle curve that he's been working with, much more effective. It's his numbers for the season. Nice inning by Dale Thayer.
Bobby's last time out was against the Phillies on Saturday night. Faced 5 batters and retired them all. Now Joey Votto leads off and takes a strike. Parnell, the 7th Met pitcher of the night. Votto 1 for 3 and a sacrifice fly. He's scored a run. He's driven in a run.
Votto cracks one to right. Coming on is Baxter, diving to make the catch. And Mike Baxter has really showed off his abilities in right field.
Well, nicely done. It's a humpback line drive, as we call it. Topspin line drive. Nice play.
So 1 hard out and nobody on. And now Jay Bruce. A bloop single, scored a run in the 7th.
Threw that fastball right by him. Bruce don't like that ball away, does he? Kind of
doesn't look it up either.
He likes to pull.
Oh, 1 from Parnell. And he throws another fastball by him, and it's 0-2.
It'd be a little discouraging. Let's look at this 2 fastballs. Jeez, throw him another one.
All heat to get him.
3 pitches, 3 fastballs, and Bruce down on strikes, 2 away. Let's go back to that Reyes base running play and take a look at what he was seeing.
And we're going to see also Chip Hale. Keep an eye on Chip Hale. He'll come into the screen on the right box. Now see, Reyes is not running full out because of the hamstring. As we said, this is an automatic triple, but he gets caught turning, looking over his shoulder, not knowing where the ball is.
I think he saw Phillips get the ball, thought Phillips was going to throw home, and that's why he started toward third.
As a base runner, when the relay guy is getting that relay out in the outfield, you take your turn at second base, you look over your shoulder, and then you wait for him to throw. Once he throws home, you can walk to third base.
You know what was interesting about Reyes there? When he saw him halfway to second, that's when he looked at Chip Hale. So he looked at him very prematurely. So when we saw that, maybe he did catch Hale doing what he was doing.
Waved at Baxter.
But he looked too early. You have to wait till you get around second. Then you pick him up.
0-2 to Chris Heisy, who has the biggest hit in this game, a 3-run homer in the 7th to put the Reds in front. And Francisco Cordero getting ready for the save opportunity in the 9th. Mets will have Harris, Wright, and Evans 3, 4, and 5 in the order coming up. Barnell's retired the first 2 here in the top of the inning. And looking to put away Heisy. That curveball is low, 2-2.
That's a final in Tampa Bay.
Yep. Rays beat the Yankees 5-2. So they're now a half game behind the Red Sox, who are 2 outs away from losing. Down 6-2 in Baltimore.
Wow.
2-2 from Parnell. Heisy gets tied up 99 miles an hour, 3-2.
That's an effective pitch when you throw that hard. And that's what I think Bobby has to learn. His right-hander shouldn't be taking those kind of swings off him, hitting the ball hard off him, throwing that hard. Let them think about that gas inside. There you go.
Slow ground ball. Reyes waits on it and throws out Heisy, side retired. So Parnell gets a 1-2-3. Now the Mets will come up down by a run in the bottom of the 9th. The Braves have lost tonight. Phillies beat them 4-2. And the Cardinals trailing in Houston 4-2, bottom of the 7th. Now in the American League, the Rays have won, and the Red Sox putting on a little uprising in the 9th. The run is in on a Dustin Pedroia RBI hit, and Adrian Gonzalez at the plate as the tying run against Jim Johnson, with the Orioles leading at 6-3. Francisco Cordero, 325 career saves, will come on to pitch the 9th.
He's even been better after the All-Star break. Has converted 18 of 19 on the season.
Willie Harris, David Wright, Nick Evans, the scheduled hitters for the Mets in the last of the 9th. Well, the Reds 6 runs, 10 hits. The Mets 5 runs, 12 hits.
Gonzalez just flew out to left, Gary. 2 outs.
Harris is 1 for 3 and a walk. He was at the plate when Tejada was caught stealing to end the 8th. Mets scored a run in the 8th, but they lost 2 runners on the bases. Reyes with the wide turn at second was thrown out carrying the tying run, and then Tejada followed with a hit, and he was thrown out trying to steal.
Harris cracks one deep to right over toward the corner. It's a base hit going up against the wall. Harris heads to second, and he's in with a leadoff double.
Now Willie Harris continues to shine late in the year, and the Mets have the tying run at second with nobody out.
Right down the pipe fastball. He just was a little bit quick on it to look at a little bit towards the end.
So now the Mets are a base hit away from tying the game. Here's David Wright, who was robbed of a hit and perhaps 2 RBIs his last time up. Chris Heisy making a diving catch in left center. David drove in a run with a 3rd inning single, his 60th RBI of the year. He's 1 for 4. And he takes a slider for a strike. Now Cordero with the 0-1.
Oh, and he hit him.
Wow. Shades of Matt Cain. High and tight. And David couldn't get out of the way.
Did that get him on the arm, Keith?
I thought it got him on the arm. More towards the shoulder. You want to come inside. Oh, got him in the shoulder blade. Yep.
David's okay. You can hear it. David trying his best to get out of the way, but couldn't. But he shakes it off and heads down to first. Now the Mets have the tying runs on base with nobody out. It's a final in Baltimore. The Orioles beat the Red Sox 6-3, so the Red Sox wild card lead is gone.
And you put a bunt on here with Nick Evans, who's been swinging a hot bat.
No.
I agree.
I mean, Terry has been bunting in these spots, but let him swing the bat.
Well, you've got both corners in, really opening up some holes. And they're going to bunt. They're going for the win.
In the dirt, ball 1. Well, the Mets team wide have bunted so poorly over the last 2 months. It's got to be awfully hard to put down that bunt sign again. So the Rays win, the Red Sox lose. Those 2 teams are tied for the American League wild card lead with 2 games to play. Two balls and no strikes to Evans with Josh Tolle on deck.
I let him swing. 2-0. Let him swing. He's going to get a fastball.
If you do successfully sacrifice, Tolle could be walked, and then you've got the pitcher spot due up. Probably Justin Turner. Not a whole lot else left. And he bunts it foul. It has not been pretty watching this team try to sacrifice lately.
Terry's hot.
Evans does not have a sacrifice bunt this year. Bunts it right back to Cordero, who's got the play in third, and he makes it easily. So Cordero able to cut down the lead runner. Harris is retired. And another unsuccessful sacrifice bunt for the New York Mets.
Well, Evans not used to bunting, and just too hard and at the pitcher. and the veteran Cordero knows what to do.
You know, Keith, the not used to bunting is getting old for me. I'm sorry. Big league player, got to get the bunt down.
So now right at second, Evans, who does not run all that well, is at first, carrying the potential winning run. Josh Thole, the batter. Thole is 1 for 4. And a breaking ball in the dirt for ball 1. Justin Turner has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher. In Houston, the Cardinals are threatening in the 8th, first and second and nobody out, trailing the Astros 4-2. Atlanta has already lost. One-0 to Thole. Ground ball should be 2. Phillips with the flip. Yanish finishes it off, and the Reds win the ball game. 4-6-3 on the double play, and the Mets' inability to get a bunt down burns them again. Some poor base running by Reyes in the 8th, and then the failed bunt attempt by Evans in the 9th, and it cost the Mets a 1-run loss as Cincinnati wins it 6-5.
Well, Dusty Baker's crew, Cordero now 19 of 20 since the All-Star break, and lots of hitting against the Mets tonight, and the Mets just could not answer. They had enough, and they had the lead, but just could not hold it for Chris Schwinden.
Well, the Mets out-hit the Reds 13-10. Reyes, is important to note, went 3 for 4 on the day, takes over the lead with Ryan Braun not playing tonight, so he takes over a slim lead with 2 games to play in the National League batting title race.
So the Reds win it as you check your key game summary. Coming up right after we're done here, it's Lincoln Postgame Live. Gary Apple and Bobby Ojeda will have all the stuff for you after the game right here on SNY. Cincinnati hangs on to win it 6-5. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.